Hello guys, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto finds a girl beaten and raped? If you enjoy this video then please like, share and do comment. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. So let us start the story.
I should have known this was coming. The way people treated me were signs. The taunting, the threats, all the scowls that were always directed at me. They hated me and I knew it, but I never thought it would ever come to this. I was being thrown away like garbage. My family, my sister, wanted me gone and probably dead. I cried on that day begging my mother, my only ally in that village, to convince father to let me stay, but she couldn't, and my only home I've ever known was gone. I was only 7, I was reading a scroll, studying to become a priestess when father came in and smiled at me. A sense of dread started creeping into my stomach. Father never smiles at me. His smile was cruel and looked sinister and evil in my eyes. They made me shiver. Father, do you need anything from me? I stuttered, looking at the man who should have loved me. He had a servant come in with a bag and drop it by me. All he did was smile wider and say, "You're leaving." I got up the courage to ask, "Are we traveling somewhere, father?" At that, he laughed. The feeling in my stomach was growing heavier. I knew whatever he was going to tell me wasn't going to be anything I wanted to hear. "No, daughter," his tone was sharp and cold as if my very name was acid on his tongue. "You are leaving. Take the bag and go. I have decided for the good of the village that you are to leave immediately and never return." I had gone numb by that point. I didn't know what to do. All I could figure to say was, "Why? I don't understand. Far, what have I done?" He slapped me then, and his previous calm, businesslike manner was gone and replaced with rapidly growing rage. He was seething. "You're a disgrace to this family and village. No one wants you here. As if your disgusting hair isn't bad enough, you have those filthy eyes. Everyone thinks you are a freak. I hate that you were born into this family. You pathetic excuse of a daughter, ha ha. Do you know how glad I was when Tsubaki suggested to exile you?" I felt that he had physically slapped me again. Sister told you to exile me?" I was shocked and felt betrayed. I knew sister and I had never been close, but I thought she at least held some form of sympathy towards me. Every word out of his mouth felt like I was being pummeled by bricks. The feeling in my stomach felt so heavy I didn't know if I would ever move again. "Of course she did, you stupid child. At least she turned out right, unlike you. I want you gone by tomorrow. Now leave," he roared. I grabbed the bag and ran away from him as fast as I could. I ran to the only place I knew I could be protected. I ran straight to the room all the way at the top of the house and pushed the door open. Mother, help, I don't know what to do. Father is sending me away." I half cried. My mother was on the bed, slumped, lying there in a look of defeat. She looked like she had just cried. I was too frantic to notice. I tugged on her sleeves to catch her attention. "Mother, help me. I don't want to be away from you. Please, talk to father. Please, tell him to let me stay. Please." Still no response. "Mother," I cried. She finally responded. "I can't stop him," she whispered. "I couldn't convince him to let you stay." She started tearing up then. "He made his decision and he won't change it." She was crying now. "Oh, Akemi, I can't protect you this time," she sobbed. I was crying then also. We were both crying, holding onto each other for probably the last time. We stayed like that for what seemed like forever, but not long enough. She whispered in a hoarse voice, "I love you." And I said I love you too to her. We slept together in my room that night to avoid being caught by father. She held me tight to her chest, telling me she loved me until I finally fell to sleep. Morning came too soon. I heard the birds chirping, the sun was shining brightly. The weather was sunny and nice, the exact opposite of what I felt in that moment I woke up. Mother was already up with my belongings in a bag. She stood to her full height and took my hand. We walked together, her carrying my bag, to the gate. People stared at us but said nothing because Mother was there. She let go of my hand and gave me the bag. She kissed my forehead and looked me straight in the eye. "Now listen here. No matter what anyone says, you're beautiful. That's why I gave you your name." She laughed shakily with tears in her eyes. "I love your eyes and I love your hair. I love you. That will never change." I nodded. "Promise me one thing, okay?" She waited until I nodded again. "Promise me you'll survive and have a happy life. That you'll do your best to live, because I know as long as you're alive and happy I'll be happy too." "I promise, Mommy. I love you." I hugged her tighter, hoping time would stop forever. Me too. She let go of me and stepped back. I picked up my bag and started walking away. She stood there watching me leave until she couldn't see me anymore. I kept walking and walking until I collapsed. I didn't even know which direction I was in, but on the side of the path I was walking on. While staring up at the stairs, I promised myself to always remember to keep my promise. I love you, Mother. I will survive. I will live. It's been 5 years since I've been thrown out of my village. I've met lots of people and gained a lot of experience. Now you don't have to worry, I didn't become depressed from my experience. If anything, it made me stronger. If I really thought about my life in my old home, I probably would have run away or died sooner or later if I had stayed. In a way, that dramatic turn in my life was a blessing in disguise. I'm traveling, experiencing life and living my life to what I consider the extent of the fullest. I would like to say I'm a laid-back, happy-go-lucky person right now with way too much sarcasm. I travel from place to place in a kind of forever vacation. Doing what I want, when I want, nothing to worry about. Who knew being a hobo could be so pleasant? Whoever says hobos are filthy or dirty, he reversed. Liars. I mean, I think I look pretty clean. It's not that hard to stay clean as long as there is a lake or pond nearby. I've also run into my fair share of trouble and creeps, but I always manage to escape, and I have the scars to prove it. I mean, I just escaped from some psychopath and his jackass friend, and I'm recovering from my escape, but I have a stomach wound right now and it is not pretty. Right now I'm traveling to my next place to sleep and regain my strength. I've already caught and ate dinner, now all I need to do is find a nice tree to sleep in for the night. Trees, looking for a tree, I was humming in my head. I stopped when I noticed a presence following after me. Great, I have stalkers following me, but they weren't attacking, just watching, so I ignored them. I mean, even stalkers have to have something in their lives to enjoy. Why not brighten their day by letting them stare at my awesomeness? I'm sure they'll leave me alone sooner or later to stalk someone else. Ah, this tree is perfect. It's like you were made for me. Thanks, tree. I hug the tree and start climbing up by hand. Don't want my stalkers to know I'm capable, now do I? Besides, climbing by hand is fun to do every now and then. I keep my bag close to me and curl up to go to sleep. Comfy tree. I woke up to the sound of leaves crunching. I shot up quickly and pulled my sword out of my bag. Who's there? No response. I'm warning you, if you don't show yourselves, you'll be sorry later. This time a bush started moving and 2 men walked out and stared at me cautiously. One was a man in his 20s with white hair sticking sideways like he cocked his head horizontally from the ground, staring at an art piece he didn't understand, but his hair decided to stay in that position. He had his entire face covered except one of his eyes and wore black clothes and a green vest. He looked like a pirate. Pirate man's partner didn't look any better than him. His hair was worse. It looked like he put a bowl on his head and just chopped any hair that wasn't protected by the bowl off. His eyebrows were too much to go into or describe after just waking up. He wore a green jumpsuit, like the ones I've seen women in some of the villages of past wear when they do yoga. He even had the leg warmers like them. He also wore a vest similar to his pirate buddy. They were staring at me. I was staring at them. 5 minutes probably passed, but no one moved. It soon got annoying and I exploded. Staring. Didn't your mothers ever tell you that staring is rude? I huffed at the end. That only made them stare at me more. Ahem. What are you doing here? I mean, I know I am so epic that you had to turn into stalkers to creep and see you daily dose of me, but you're starting to make me feel uncomfortable. That seemed to snap Pirate Man out of his staring contest. I really should be asking you that. State your name, business, and what you are doing here. He said in a very professional way that was screwing over my image of him as a pirate in my head. What are you talking about? This is a forest. I'm allowed to do as I please in a forest, and if you haven't noticed, I was sleeping in a tree before I was rudely awoken. I stated, and as an extra note, besides, what I do is none of your business. What my name is also none of your concern. Also, I don't know your name, so why should I give you mine? So now that that is done, I will be leaving. Why don't you go and do some yoga with your friend or something? At the mention of him, Yoga Man suddenly erupted. The power of youth is definitely with you. Such spirit. He then moved to hug me, but I tensed and was about to cut him with my sword when that stupid pirate moved too fast for me to react and snatched my sword away from me. I still managed to kick Yoga Man when he came at me. He stumbled back but otherwise seemed unaffected. Now we wouldn't want someone to get hurt, now would we? Pirate Man calmly said while smiling under his mask. His calm demeanor ticked me off and he took my favorite sword, so I lunged at him also. I caught him by surprise, but he quickly regained his cool attitude and held me at arm's length. You seem suspicious. I think we should take you to our Hokage and see what happens from there. My name Hitaki Kakashi and my friend over there is Maida Guy. So that's their names. I'll still going to call them Yoga Man and Pirate Man. They have a nicer ring to them in my opinion. He said something that stopped me from going to retrieve my sword from him. Now we can go peacefully to my village or we can take you by force. Damn, and just when I was recovering from my last escape. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to have to make escape number 2 for this week. Sorry, I sounded anything but, I don't plan on going anywhere, especially with stalkers. You could possibly be pedos in disguise trying to prey on my innocence. Or worse, force me to become a yoga-loving pirate with a bad fashion sense. I said the last part in a faked fright. Have I mentioned I have a weird mouth? No? Oh well, now you know. While they were momentarily distracted or confused by what I just said, I ran and managed to snatch back my sword from the pirate. Both Yoga Man and Pirate Man stood in battle stance when the sword was poised at them. I ran forward, they jumped to dodge my attack, but I wasn't running towards them. I ran to the tree I was sleeping in and kicked the giant tree. It shook from my powerful kick and my bag dropped to the ground. I picked it up and ran away. They seemed stunned yet again by what I had done, but soon started pursuing me. Usually I wasn't this slow, but I think I'm allowed to be slow after I almost had myself split in 2 from escape number 1 attempt. They soon caught up. That stupid pirate hit me right where my wound had recently closed up. Aw crap. It just closed up. Now it's going to start bleeding again. I slashed at him, cutting part of his vest off, and kicked him. I bounced off him and he hit into Yoga Man. I ran off again. I thought I was almost home free when I reached the forest's edge. I put my sword into my bag. Then Yoga Man tackled me to the ground. My bag skidded across from me on the ground away from my reach. Damn, I struggled, but it was useless. He had a tight grip on me and wasn't planning on letting go. I wouldn't be this weak if I wasn't recovering from what I learned of Yoga Man. I suddenly screamed, "Hey, look, a spirit of youth is coming this way." He looked where I was pointing with excitement in his eyes. Where? Come to me, spirit of youth. Let the youth be with me. Seriously? He actually believed that? I looked at him in annoyance at his stupidity and kicked him in the chest when his grip loosened on me. Hard. He flew away and I turned to grab my bag and run when a hand grabbed my ankle, causing me to fall to the ground. Soon the person who tripped me grabbed me into a tight hold and hoisted me over his shoulder. I kicked and hit, but I was too weak and he had a firm grip on me. I got her. Guy. Grab her bag and let's head back to show her to the Hokage. He commanded. That freaking pirate. I'm going to murder him when he lets go. I was seething and angry. Let me go, you damn pirate. I'm going to scream bloody murder if you don't. I screeched. He just smiled. No can do. We have to bring you to the Hokage. I was still screaming. You know, with all your running, you went in the direction of our village and saved us the trouble of having to carry you all the way back. He chuckled. I screamed louder. I have a feeling he said that just to tick me off for calling him a pirate. Guy, go report to the Hokage that we're coming and what we have learned so far. Okay, Kakashi, but that doesn't mean you won this battle over this beautiful maiden. Goodbye, beautiful maiden, you are full of youth and I know you will become a great beauty and powerful ninja. Let the power of youth be with you. He yelled as he went ahead where I couldn't see him. Ninja? What the hell is a ninja? But that question soon flew out of my head as I remembered I was being forcibly taken and started swearing up a storm. We soon came to a massive gate with 2 guards out, who were sleeping until they heard me. They woke up and stared at me in surprise at first and then in amusement as soon as they saw my entire situation. That only encouraged me to swear more and louder. Laugh at me, will ya? Let's see who's laughing after I get out of this. You're going to be freaking crying to your mommies after I get to you. I screamed at them, which only made them smile wider. I kept struggling and screamed things that made parents cover their hands over their children's ears when we came into hearing distance. Everyone in eyesight in this blasted village saw and heard me on Pirate's shoulder cursing and screaming profanities into the air as we passed by. This is the worst way to wake up ever. Raw PE. Help, I'm about to be rap-ed by a pirate. Someone? Seriously, I'm going to be raw Ed in some random shed where no one will see me. Help. I kept screaming that halfway through the village, but everyone gave me the weird look, not the pirate carrying me like a rabbit off to the slaughterhouse. Geez, you would think any normal people would come and help a young girl being carried off by a strange man yelling she's about to be raw ped. My first impression of this village is not turning out so great if they can't help a girl in need. You know what gasp I bet people are being all the time, that's why no one's helping me. What a horrible village this place is turning out to be. As soon as Pirate Man brings me to this Hokage, I'm going to be complaining to him about his village's situation. I still have no idea what this Hokage is, but it probably is the person in charge. Quote exclamation mark quote. I tried again. Stop screaming that, no one is going to help and I'm not raping you, so quit saying so. Pirate turned to say. He started to adjust me while carrying me. Ooh, that hurt. Damn, stupid wound. Why did you have to reopen? It can't be that hard to stay closed after almost being ripped apart. I grunted. I had a load of bandages wrapped around my stomach and the blood hasn't leaked through yet, so Pirate doesn't know I'm bleeding on his shoulder. He turned one final corner and came into a large red building. He became silent. Now if I put you down gently, will you try to run off? I closed my eyes and breathed slowly. I opened them again and smiled as sweetly as I could. Why, of course I won't run. Where would I run to? He just stared at me and sighed. He started putting me down and as soon as my feet touched the ground I tried to bolt away. Emphasis on tried. Pirate Man knew and grabbed my shirt collar and held tightly, effectively holding me back to him. Damn you, Pirate, why won't you just leave me alone? Because it's my job to bring any intruders to the Hokage, and would you please stop calling me Pirate or Pirate Man? No, it suits you. It also annoys me. Exactly. He sighed again. He started dragging me towards a door near the top of the building. Do you know how hard it is to go up a flight of stairs dragging a girl 3/4 of your height? Well, Pirate does now. I almost got him to fall backwards and let go of his grip on me, but it just ended up with him falling on me. When we got to the door we were both scratched and slightly bruised from falling and fighting up the stairs to the Hokage's door. Pirate knocked and come in was heard. Pirate pushed open the door and still dragged me inside the room unwillingly. There I saw an old man sitting there doing paperwork, and he had a really weird hat on. A bunch of adults in other weird clothes were gathered around him. Yoga Man was there too. They looked like they were in the middle of a meeting. What is with these people and their weird fashion senses? Hokage-sama, I brought the intruder from the borders that you had us check out. They all turned to get a look at me. They took in Pirate and my scuffed up appearance and looked at us oddly. Finally Grandpa broke the silence. Thank you, Kakashi. Wait, you're the idiot that made those freaks chase me halfway across that freakin' forest. What is wrong with you people? I went to go smack some sense into the old man, who was looking at me in shock. The others were too. Seriously, what is with these people? It's not like I do that many surprising things. But Pirate Man suddenly bonked me on the head. Hard. Ow, what the hell was that for? Don't disrespect the Hokage. He's an important person. Him? Important? Please, he looks more like someone's grandfather, which I bet he is, than someone that's super powerful. Pirate was looking like he wanted to smack me again. I turned to the Hokage, in turn. Ignoring Pirate's, shut up or I'll shut you up, look. Hey, you, old man, if you're their supposed leader, then you need to fix some things here. I mean, I'm screaming throughout half of your village but no one helps. Do you have UAL harassment situations all the time, or are your people just all UAL offender? Is that why no one bothered helping me in my time of need? You seriously need to give some of those people the help they need. I mean, with the right therapy you could totally eradicate the number of UAL offenders and victims in this village. I'm serious. The old man looked at me, slight amusement at what I just told him. Several other people in the room looked like they were trying to stop themselves from laughing out loud. Then two people burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. Priceless. UAL offenders. Good job, Kakashi, you brought the best person here today by far. I noticed they were the two guards at the gates who were laughing at me earlier. Hey, you were the idiots who were at the gates. You better remember what I told you at the gates, cuz now I'm going to fulfill that promise. Come on, let's go. I'm so knocking you idiots out after this fight. I started rolling up my sleeves to fight better, but they only laughed harder. How dare you laugh at me? I hope you've said your prayers because I'm going to Pirate Man put his hand over my mouth before I could finish that sentence. He probably guessed from our bonding time together what kind of vocabulary I had and used. Hokage-sama, what would you like to do with her? Pirate asked with his hand still on my mouth, pretending my glare at him didn't exist. Well, we should first figure out what kind of situation we're in. I already told you I'm in a situation. I added in, ignoring what I just said. Now why were you in the forest? He asked. I already told Pirate here and Yoga Man. I was sleeping. God, people have to sleep sometimes. Now that you know why I was in the forest, can I leave? I asked, exasperated. These people are freaks. Where are your parents? He's asking more questions? Whatever, I know the rule. Don't give strangers any information on you. You'll only end up in trouble. I learned lots of rules from traveling around, and you don't trust people easily either. That is none of your concern. Give me back my bag so I can be leaving. I held out my hand and headed to the door, but faster than I could see, the doofus guards and Pirate Man decided to get in my way. Whoa, they're freaking fast. Holy Mother of Mary, Jesus Christ, you guys are fast. I exclaimed in surprise. Why, we're sleeping in the forest? That could be dangerous for you. He sounded concerned for me. Yeah, right, he's probably faking. I sleep in trees all the time. What's it matter to you? Now, old man, move your henchmen so I can go. I pointed to them and looked at the old man to tell them to let me go, but he didn't. Hey, old man, I said get your weird villagers away from me. I have places to go, you know, people to see. I was lying. I didn't have anything scheduled beside to try to rest and re-heal my stomach. But yet again I was ignored. Do you have a place to stay? Yeah, like I've been repeating several times, a tree. Is your hearing finally getting to you, old man? Bonk. Can you guess who that was? I see. He called over the other spectators and Pirate but kept the guards there. They started talking like I wasn't even there, and then he turned to me and said, how would you like to become a resident of this village and go to the ninja academy to learn to be a ninja? A nin what? What the hell's a ninja supposed to be? I was confused. I've never heard that before. What that's supposed to be? Everyone, again, looked at me in shock. Hey, I know I'm amazing to look at, but close your mouths. You'll catch flies that way. I smiled sweetly at the end. The old man regained his composure quickly after. Are you telling me you've never heard of a ninja? Of course, that's why I'm asking. It seems like it will be useful information to know when I go traveling again. You travel a lot, so you don't plan on staying? He seemed grim about that. I am not giving you any information regarding that, haven't you heard? Never give a stranger information about yourself. Geez, and people say old age makes you wiser, liars. And no, I don't plan on settling down anytime soon. So kindly move, you stupid guards, before I do, and give me back my bag. I'm leaving as soon as you tell me what I want to know. They started whispering to each other again. Pirate turned and talked to me. If I tell you what a ninja is and give you your bag back, how about you answer one of my questions? No, now tell me what a ninja is. I replied stubbornly. Never give a stranger information about yourself. He said back, restating what I just said to the old man. Arg, he's good. I thought about and decided to give as little information as possible. Besides, I really want my bag. It has my favorite sword in it. Fine. What's a ninja? A ninja is a fighter that uses chakra for her abilities to fight in a certain way. Of course, there are all sorts of types fighting styles, but there is taijutsu, ninjutsu, and genjutsu. Everyone in this room is a ninja, and we have an academy where children are trained to become ninjas also. Now where are you parents or legal guardians? I looked at them. Yep, these people are definitely insane. There are no such things as ninjas. I'm curious though, so I'll keep asking. What's chakra? They started to look confused. I don't know, what about? Answer my question first. They kicked me out of the village. I don't have any legal guardians. I travel alone. At that they looked sad at me. It pissed me off. I snapped, don't look at me like that. I don't need your pity. They turned their faces back to normal, but there was that tiny look in their eyes that I knew. They still felt bad for me. Now, chakra, what is it? Chakra is something everyone possesses, but not everyone knows how to use it. It comes from within you. Ninjas use it to supply their bodies so that they can perform justice. He looked toward the old man. The old man whispered something. How long have you been traveling? A few years. I replied vaguely. How long though? I told you. Tell me how long or I won't answer your next question. If I didn't want my bag back so badly, I would strangle that stupid pirate. There is no way I believe in ninja crap. It's all fake and they're all lunatics. Fine, I've been traveling for 5 years. Show me one of your jutsu thingies. I've never seen one before and it could come in handy later in the future to know. He looked at me confused again. Okay, but that's going to cost you 5 questions. 3. I bartered. 4. He insisted. Arg. 4. I agreed reluctantly. Name? Himura Akemi. Where are you from? The Himura village in the land of the waves. I knew they didn't know my village because my village had little outside contact even with the other villages from the land of the waves. I'm not even sure if the land of the waves knew we were there to begin with. We weren't a big village to start with. I've never heard of that village. He said suspiciously. Of course you haven't, it's a small village. Not very important at all. He eyed me. How old are you? 12. His one visible eye widened. I'm sure if I saw the other eye it would be wide also. Your parents sent you off alone when you were only 7 years old. He practically yelled. I flinched remembering how I felt after they kicked me out. It took me weeks to finally start living again. There was the sympathy in their eyes again. I didn't want them looking at me like that. Next question? I said quickly to avert their attention somewhere else. Pirate hesitated but asked, do you really have no knowledge of the ninja world? How could you not know what a ninja is if you've traveled around for 5 years? That was 2 questions but I let it slide and answered the question. Wait, there's a ninja world? I thought this village was the only place full of wackos. At their nod, I sighed. Great, there's loads of nut jobs in the world with this information and I've been around for 5 years and not know this? I look like a complete fool. Damn it, now I'm embarrassed. I just don't stay long in villages so I've never bothered collecting information or heard about ninjas because none of the things did had to do with ninjas. There, your 3 questions are up. Show me you're just you now because frankly I don't believe in this ninja thing. He nodded and did some sign with his hands. A poof later and there was a second him there standing next to him in all his pirate glory. I screamed and grabbed a cross that was around my neck and threw it at his head. The other him poofed away when it hit him. Owig, what was that? You're doing devil magic, aren't you? If you're dealing with demons then I advise you to stop before you end up dead. If all of you can do that you must be freaks from hell. I'm warning you now to quit consorting with demons. Demons are wicked and can taint you souls until they're filthy black and you all end up in hell. I stated very seriously. Remember I was a priestess in training so demon exorcism isn't that hard to do. The group looked at me in disbelief. Suddenly an idea popped into my head since they were all confused and defenseless. Is that all I need to know about you, ninja? Yeah, one of the freaks replied absent-mindedly. I brightened at that thought, grabbed my bag and cross necklace, and dashed out of the room as fast as possible. They were shocked at first but soon started yelling loudly and chasing after me. I can't run that fast because of my wound and I really can't outrun an entire group of adults. I'm going to have to block their attacks by running where a lot of people are. That'll restrict their movement. I ran out of the building and into the streets. I saw them looking and then they spotted me. 2 went off in one direction while the others chased me. Crud, I forgot how damn fast they are. I ran as fast as I possibly could trying to remember the way I came through the gates. I turned corners and switched streets to try to confuse whoever was chasing me. I ran to a corner when I recognized the 2 men from earlier up ahead blocking my way so I turned around but the others were coming from that direction. I ran into the building on the side and ran up some steps. I turned into an empty hallway and looked around frantically for my pursuers. I didn't see them anywhere yet. I ran into the closest room and shut the door behind me. I was breathing hard against the door when I felt like someone was watching me. I whipped around to see an entire room full of kids my age and a man. This must be the academy. If I was in the academy then those freaks must know. I ignored the stairs and saw a window and a tree through it that lead to the forest. Bingo! I ran to it and jumped out of the window. My hands stretched out to grab onto the tree branch when someone grabbed both my ankles and pulled me back in. Since I remembered there were people around my age in the room I screamed hoping they would help. Help! I'm about to be violated. Help! I looked at the class for help but they only stared at me in shock. Aren't you going to stop staring and help me? I could possibly be D any minute now. Help! They were still staring. I punched the guy the first recognized from the old man's room from earlier in the jaw. He let go and I was about run again when his partner grabbed me from behind and the other adults from earlier came into the room to help drag me out. They were tugging me and as my last desperate attempt, I latched onto the door that went into the hallway. Hello, is anyone going to help me? Help. Fine, go ahead, stare. You traitors. I hope you burn in hell for working with the devil. Traitors. I screamed before finally being pulled out. The entire way back to the old man's office I was yet again screaming and yelling for help. But did anyone stop to help? No. They stared, just stared. What's the world coming to when a young, defenseless, in their eyes, girl is yelling and no one comes to help? I was pushed into the office but I was struggling and screaming. Let me go, you freaks. Demons. Let go, let go, let go. I don't want to stay here. Let go. The old man was there again. Now Akemi, I think you should calm down so he can explain. He didn't finish because I threw my cross at his head like I did with Pirate Man. Demon, be gone and leave this body. I command you by the power of God to leave this soul and never to return. Deus cum vobis, Latin. Let God be with you. I commanded. I still don't sense any evil spirits coming from them, but I haven't been practicing my priestess duties for a while, so I might just be out of practice. He didn't do anything, just looked at me in slight amusement again. What's that look for? I'm trying to save you from devil practice and you think this is funny? I turned to see all the adults have similar looks on their faces. Stop looking at me like that. I'm being serious. I stomped my foot like a child. I know I was being childish, but they were laughing at me. Akemi, I think you've misunderstood. We are ninjas not being possessed by demons. Bull, I don't believe that. Pirate just made another him like magic. That has got to be black magic. I said, convinced I was right. Akemi, have you had in training in any temples or shrines? The old man asked. Why yes, I was a priestess in training. I stated uncertainly. How does he know that? I thought so. He chuckled. Do you sense any evil spirits off of anyone here? I grew uncertain. No. Then with renewed energy, but I might just be out of practice. You couldn't possibly be doing this without devil magic. It doesn't make sense. He smiled at me kindly. Yes, we can and I'm certain you could too. That's why I have assigned you up to go to the academy and learn about ninjas. Any thought about them being demons was reinforced into my head. You can't do that. You can't just forcibly make me stay here. That qualifies as kidnapping. I jumped up suddenly but winced. I hope he didn't notice, but I think he already did. My wound was getting worse. It was almost done seeping through my bandages and all the running was getting to me. I felt weak, nauseous, and tired, but I wasn't going to show it. Yes, I can, and I did. He said in a firm tone that he meant it, but that he also meant well. He got up and pulled a book from one of his shelves. I took a defensive stance just in case he was going to attack me. Looks can be deceiving. Here, he handed me the book and my crossback. I took it hesitantly. That book should give you the basis of what a ninja is in our history. Read it. I definitely wasn't planning on staying, but reading wouldn't harm me. I put both in my bag. You know I'm going to try to run at every chance I get. You really shouldn't be giving me your secrets, old man. I told him. I wouldn't normally tell, but I had a slight soft spot for him. He felt like a kind grandfather to me. I've never had anyone love me besides my mother, so him treating me so kindly was putting me off. The people I've met over the years were nice, but never more than polite. Grandpa was disarming with his kind attitude. It was fair enough to give him a heads-up warning. He chuckled. I have no doubt you'll try, so I'm housing you with someone to keep an eye on you. I think you should settle down. My village would be a good start. I looked at him horrified. The only two people I actually sort of know are Pirate and Yoga Man. You don't mean Pirate or Yoga Man, right? Because if you do, you're only giving me more of a reason to leave. He laughed again. No, I'm housing you with a student from the academy. He will be one of your classmates when you go to the academy, Uzumaki Naruto. He lives by himself. He handed me some keys and started guiding me out of the room. We're done here, why don't you go to the hospital now and get that wound treated? How did you never mind? I'm not staying, old man, just you wait, I'm getting out of here. I threatened him in a not so threatening tone. Yes, have a good day, he said in a cheery tone as he closed the door. I just stood outside the door dumbfounded. It took me a minute to process everything and start working again. I looked at the keys in my hand and stuffed them in my bag. Get some new bandages first, then some food, and after that I'm hightailing it out of here, I thought as I walked off out of the building. Third person Pav. The group of Junin looked as the girl left and then turned to the Hokage. "What are you planning on doing with her, Hokage-sama?" one of them asked. "We're keeping her here, that's what," he replied. Beneath her joking demeanor, she is guarded. She has this aura around her that makes a person want to help her. It's not that she asking for it. It's like she relies only herself and doesn't know anyone else will help, so they wanted to tell her she can ask for help. I hope she wants to stay here. I saw her guard crack slightly earlier. She looked confused and sad. She doesn't seem to know how to handle love. She's similar to Naruto in some aspects. Asuma, go look after Akemi and report back on what she is doing. I need to make arrangements with Iruka to have Akemi join the class. Hokage-sama, what if she tries to escape? Catch her, he said simply. Let's finish this meeting. They took their seats. 15 minutes later. Okay, that will be all for today. Asuma then came back stomping in a bad mood, smoking a newly lit cigarette. Asuma, what is the report? The others stayed behind, curious on what the child had done to put Asuma in such a foul mood. She calls us devils? Ha, she's the real devil here. What she does is anything but a holy act of God. Asuma, report, the Hokage said, getting genuinely interested. Report. Oh, please. First, she didn't go to the hospital to treat her wounds like you said. Did she try to run? Yes, but that's not it. Everyone was getting more and more curious on what she had done. She stole bandages from the hospital. PPHHFFT. Kakashi tried to hold in his laughter. Sorry, go on. The others also found that funny, but Asuma didn't. Don't laugh. That's not even the worst part. She disappeared after that. I thought she had ran again, so I go searching for her, but it turns out she knew I was there because seconds later she attacks me. She attacked you? Did she get hurt? The Hokage asked in astonishment. Her? Hurt? If anyone's hurt, it's me. You wouldn't even know she was injured. She attacked me and took my wallet. She tied me to a pole, so before she left she said, "Thanks for letting me mug you. I was planning on getting food soon anyway. Hope you don't mind if I borrow some money." See ya. It took me 7 minutes to saw off the knot she made to tie me to the pole. She even commented on me to stop my smoking habits. At that point Kotetsu and Izumo, the guards, were cracking up. The others soon started laughing also. A girl who hardly knew anything about ninjas and had a wound beat a grown Junin man. That was startling, but the absurd things she did after she left clouded the thought away from anyone's head. Where is she at the moment? The Hokage asked. I don't know. I came back after untying myself from the pole. I am never babysitting her again. You want a report? Send Kotetsu. He seems to like her since him and Izumo are laughing at me. Asuma stated angrily. That little devil. And to think I was worried for her. Sigh, at least I don't have to worry that she'll have any trouble fitting in with her personality. I was afraid she wouldn't know what to do, but obviously she can take care of herself. I'll go check. They all poofed to a different room where a crystal ball was. The Hokage looked into it. They soon spotted her through the crystal ball. She was on the side of the road near Ichiraku Ramen with what looked like some ramen she recently bought, trying to eat. Check the word trying. She was holding chopsticks the wrong way, one in both hands. She stuck them in her bowl and spun them in the bowl until noodles were on the chopsticks, but then she couldn't get the chopsticks separated. She soon got frustrated and then started cursed a mouthful of words. The entire scene was entertaining to watch for the Joinin and Hokage. Even Asuma found it amusing. She suddenly stopped throwing a fit and looked up towards the source of where the adults were looking through. Her eyes flashed but then turned confused. They all were shocked. Can she see us, Hokage-sama? No, but I do believe she can sense us. She will become a very good ninja. They agreed and turned back to her. She still had a confused look on her face but shrugged it off. Grabbing Asuma's wallet, she left her ramen and walked into a nearby store. She came out with packs of rice balls in her hand and she was eating one. Once she finished them, her attitude changed. It was calculating. Kakashi, go to Akemi. She's planning to run. He nodded and poofed to Akemi. She's definitely going to be a handful. Akemi's pav. I had just finished these sticky things called rice balls. They were pretty good. Remember, she's lived in a forest most of the time, even when she was passing through a village, so she hunted her food. I only had to buy them because the stupid soup or whatever called ramen was horrible to eat. I couldn't even taste it cause the man there handed me chopsticks and I didn't know how to use them. Again. Forest. Thank God I mugged the cigarette guy, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to buy food. I would feel bad for taking his money if he wasn't stalking me. I even told him, sorry, Pirate and Yoga Man are already my stalkers. I can't handle any more stalkers. You could try to be one of my admirers. That illegal version of a stalker, so it's close enough. Of course he got super pissed after I said that. Oh, and when I commented on his bad smoking habits. I even took away his old cigarette in his mouth and tossed it in the trash. Now that I'm finished eating and stole enough bandages from the hospital to last me a month. I need to figure a way out. I hid myself first so I could figure out a plan. I shivered, I kept feeling this presence like I was being watched but no one was there but the feeling didn't go away. I kept thinking, if there's a front gate maybe there's a back gate. With that theory in mind I started running out of my hiding spot in any direction searching for a gate. After a couple of minutes of running I spotted a gate and started walking normal pace. There were 2 guards there too, crap. Time to put my great acting skills into motion. I walked out of the gate like nothing, one of them grabbed my arm. Sorry, you're not allowed out of these gates, little girl. I put on my teary form. I'm sorry, I didn't know, but my cat ran out this way and I want to get her before she runs too far. Can you please let me go look for her? I asked in a weak, pleading voice that I would never use for real. He softened his voice at me but still said, sorry, I can let you go. He did sound sorry. He's a good guard. I need to think quick. Got it. I won't go far, I promise. Here, you can keep my shoes until I return to prove I won't be far. Please, this cat is really special to me. I forced more tears into my eyes and made my voice crack slightly. I could always make a new pair of shoes once I was far away enough. What's with the bag? The second guard asked. Damn, think, it has all the stuff my cat likes. I was hoping to lure it with some of its toys. I fumbled for an excuse. Luckily I think he believed my lie. So can I go search for him? Sure, why not? I beamed at him in utter happiness. Thank you, I said with as much enthusiasm as I could pour out. I quickly took my shoes off, handing it to them, and hurried off into the forest. Both guards confused my excitement for thankfulness to them. I was running slowly because I was barefoot, but I needed to keep going. Suddenly a flash of color passed me and was right in front of me, blocking my path. I halted and looked up to see who it was. Why, hello, pirate, what brings you here? Lovely weather we're having, I said in an innocent tone. Where do you think you're going? Don't you have a cat to look after in Konoha? He knew I didn't actually have a cat. Oh, thank you, but my cat was accidentally got ran over and I'm mourning her loss. I should be going now though. Ta-ta, I played along. He jumped to attack me but I dodged and turned around to smack right into someone's chest. I looked up to see Pirate 2 standing there with a closed-eye smile. It grabbed me and started tying me up with a rope. I glared at him. You know, the rope wasn't necessary. I know, but it annoys you. He stated way too happily. He picked me up easily again like he did when he first found me, even though I was squirming and wiggling to try to get out. Oh, and one more thing. You start school tomorrow, he added just to piss me off. He carried me to a house. Where the key the Hokage gave you. When I refused to answer him, he moved me around his shoulder a lot, which seriously hurt my wound. Ow. Okay, it in the bag. Now stop moving. It hurts, I complained. He rummaged through my bag and pulled out the key. He opened the door and tossed me and my bag in with me still tied up. Before closing the door on me, he said super calmly, which pissed me off even more. Have a nice night. I'll be here to pick you up in the morning. You mean make sure I don't run away and go to school? Exactly. He smiled at that, and he left. I looked around after I finally got out of Pirate Man's knots. Whoever owned this house was a slob. The entire way was filled with cups with that stupid ramen stuff labeled on the cups and scattered garbage around the room. Oh dear God, my roommate is a pig. Who eats this much ramen? Who can eat this much? As if on cue, someone came in. I heard the footsteps and the front door closing. I vaguely recall the old man saying ooze something Naruto was going to be housing me. A blonde kid around my age came but stopped when he saw me. My first thought when I saw him was that's a lot of orange. I sensed an evil presence from within him. I automatically got into a stance to attack, but he surprised me by shouting, "Hi, I'm Uzumaki Naruto and I'm going to be Hokage one day. Believe it," he shouted, then grinned the largest smile I've seen yet. And then he said in a less loud voice, "You must be Akemi. The old man told me about you staying with me. I saw you today when you barged into my class. That was funny. Are you hungry? 'Cause I got some ramen with me and we could eat it together. He talks 50 words per minute. The strange thing was that I felt a dark aura surrounding him. He must be possessed by an evil spirit. He, as a person, is obviously not evil in any way. I better keep an eye on him just in case, though. Demons can be tricky when they possess good-hearted people. So far my impression of him is he's really loud, slightly obnoxious, and short. I like him. Hi Naruto. It's okay, I already ate. I didn't actually eat, I just didn't want to have a battle with those dumb chopsticks again, and I absolutely am not embarrassing myself in front of a stranger. I don't like people knowing my weaknesses. That's exactly the reason why I was walking away from the shop when I tried eating my ramen from the man who gave it to me. Blondie looked kind of depressed when I declined his offer. But we can talk while you eat. I don't mind that. I rushed, not wanting to hurt his feelings. He brightened at that. Great. We started talking. We talked all night, mostly about him. He wasn't being egotistical, I just directed the conversation to him when we talked. He was being treated badly by the villages and he didn't know why, but he still stayed happy and cheerful. He played lots of pranks to get attention. I admired him for his attitude even though he's treated the way he is. He seems really lonely. I don't understand the feeling. I don't get lonely, so it's hard to relate to him, but I do know what it's like to be hated by your own village. It feels horrible. He fell asleep talking before I did. I read the book Grandpa gave me. After reading it I realized that ninjas were real and not demon-possessed people, but I wasn't ever going to admit to them that I knew they were ninjas now. I soon fell asleep on the couch in the room after finishing my book and carrying Naruto through the trash heap to his bed. Akemi's pav. I woke up to the sound of birds chirping. I shot up from the floor. I didn't recognize my surroundings. My brain was still fuzzy from just waking up. I was still trying to recall where I was. I ran and grabbed my bag. I looked back at Naruto, who was still asleep. I felt bad for leaving him alone again and almost decided to stay, but I don't plan on staying anywhere, especially in Konoha where a majority of the village are crazy freaks from hell. I opened and ran out but bumped into something. I see you're excited to start your first day of school, Akemi. Damn, I forgot he said he was going to pick me up this morning. Why of course, Pirate Man. I pretended to be excited. The look he was giving me proved though that he knew I was planning to go anywhere but school. He examined me like he saw something he didn't see before. Weren't your eyes green? He asked in confusion. Yes, I replied. His eyes turned confused. There was the unanswered question to my answer, but I didn't tell him why my eyes aren't green today. Then why are they amber-colored today? Because they are. He kept looking, but when he realized I wasn't giving any more information he sighed. Well then let's go, you're already late. Leave a note for Naruto telling him you went ahead of him. He commanded. I grumbled my reply but wrote a note for him anyway. We were walking at a lazy pace even though he said I was late. We finally reached that building I ran into the previous day and headed the same way I ran up also. Pirate called out a man with a slash on his nose. Iruka, this is your new student. Keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't run away. He looked at me and seemed to recognize me even though I clearly couldn't remember ever seeing him before. He turned toward me in amusement. Oh, so you're the person Guy and Kakashi brought in yesterday. You really attracted a lot of attention when you ran into my class. His class? Wait, he was the man in the room that I tried to jump out of. Well, you're the man who just stood there while I was practically being D by questionable people. You really should give up your teaching license if you let children get D on a daily basis. I really questioned this village's sanity level. He smiled at me and then turned to Pirate. I'll keep an eye on her, Kakashi. See you around. Pirate Man poofed away. Whoa, I forgot that they could do stuff like that. He smiled again, then tugged me towards the classroom. He pushed me in, not trusting me to wait outside in the hallway. He was smart. After I was shoved into the room, it got quiet. I looked around to see all the kids in the class looking at me. Soon all of their faces lit up, recognizing me from this morning. They were staring. Some of the girls were looking at me as if I had just insulted their mothers, and the boys were staring at me with an emotion I couldn't identify. Some even had slight hearts in their eyes. What is with this village and their staring problems? I straightened my back, stood proud, and put my hands on my hips. Yeah, go ahead and stare. This is probably the last time you'll get to look at my awesomeness. 'Cause I don't plan on staying in this village for long. Oh, and super thanks for helping me yesterday when I was getting D yesterday. I added sarcastically. You'd think your fellow comrades would help if someone around your age was asking for help. They were still looking at me intrigued but at least not staring. Ahem, Akemi no one you so you can stop saying that. I shot a glare to the guy with the slash on his nose. I couldn't remember his name. So Sumi, I tend not to remember names well. He laughed nervously at my glare. Class, this is Himura Akemi. She will be joining our class and even though it's late in the year please treat her kindly and help with anything if she needs help. He instructed. Now Akemi, why don't you introduce yourself? I really didn't want to. The curious stares from the class showed that they wanted to know more about me. I was about to say how I didn't want to introduce myself but a man appeared and yelled for the teacher. Iruka, so that's his name. Try to remember the name. Try to remember. Try to remember. I chanted in my head to try to keep Iruka's name in my head. He whispered to Iruka but since I was close by I heard. Naruto has defiled the Hokage's faces. We're trying to capture him now and we need assistance. So that's why Naruto isn't here yet. I was starting to wonder if he was still asleep but it looks like he just pulled another prank. He what? Iruka yelled really loudly. He started running out the door. Class, I'm be leaving for a while. Treat Akemi nicely and Akemi don't try running, just sit in an empty seat somewhere. And he was gone. I would have run but I kind of wanted to see what Naruto did to have so many people running after him. I looked around the room for an empty seat and sat randomly at one. I still felt some stares on me. Soon two girls approached me. One had pink hair and wore a red dress, the other was blonde with a purple dress-like outfit. Both were pretty. Hi, Haruno Sakura, the pink one said, and I'm Yamanaka Ino. The blonde followed. Himura Akemi, I'm sure it's your pleasure to meet me. I grinned at the end. To give them credit they didn't seem offended. They exchanged a look at each other. They seemed like they were in sync. Do you like anyone here? They both asked in unison forcefully. Wow, I want to know how to speak in sync, I'll have to ask later. Some people decide to listen in on the conversation. Like anyone? I don't know anyone here. How could I like anyone? A lot of boys looked disappointed by that. I wonder why? You know like. Ino said, I told you I don't know anyone. To like someone, you would have to get to know their likes and dislikes before you know if you like that person. They both looked at me in confusion. Oh okay but stay away from Sasuke. Sakura warned me. Who's Sasuke? I hardly knew anyone in this class except Naruto. Before either could answer Iruka came in carrying Naruto who was tied up. Naruto of all the stupidest things you could do. This is the worst thing you've done yet. Iruka screamed at Naruto. Way to go humiliate Naruto in front of everyone. I sat up catching some's attention. Hey Naruto, what did you do? I'm really curious to know. People were looking at me like I was crazy. Hey, Akemi, I painted on the Hokage's faces on that mountain over there. He inclined his head in a direction. I turned to see his work. I had to stifle a laugh. Congrats? Nice artwork by the way. I give you an A+. I gave him the thumbs up which he smiled back to. Akemi, that is not something to congratulate Naruto on. Those mountains are important. Iruka scolded us both now. I turned to Naruto and mouthed the words, run, and then tilted my head in question. He smiled eagerly and nodded. I cut his ropes with my sword and we both started running. Iruka got before both of us and bonked us on the head. Ow, I whined. To many of you adults commit child abuse. Also do you tie people up on a daily basis? You tie Naruto up and Pirate Man tied me up. I'm surprised there isn't a shortage of rope in Konoha. This village has got it all. UAL offenders, child abusers, and pedos with rope. I complained while rubbing my head. That caused a couple of my classmates to laugh. Alright, because of Naruto's screw up you all have to review the transformation jutsu. He decided. The entire room groaned. We all lined up. That girl saw something I can't remember. Pinky went first and made a hand sign and then there stood a second Iruka. I almost fell over. Oh, yeah, ninjas. I should look closely to the hand signs they're doing so I can imitate what they're doing. I watched as a boy with black hair did the same signs as I watched. He turned into Iruka also. He has black hair. Like me. He has black hair. I kept looking at his hair. The boy noticed my staring and glared at me. Well, that's rude. I glared back at him. It seemed to have surprised him. Naruto's turn came next. He transformed into an older, female version of Naruto. Iruka's nose bled and then smacked Naruto on the head. Oh my dear Lord Mother Christ. I said horrified. Now look what you've done, Naruto. Apologize to Akemi. Iruka commanded. Naruto looked really sorry. He freaked me out. I'm really sore. Before he could finish, I interrupted him. Not only does your village have abusers and UAL offender, you have perverts too. I finished in a horror-filled voice. Naruto blinked. Then he laughed. Some of my new classmates laughed quietly also. Ha 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 ha. Great Akemi. Iruka looked embarrassed for being labeled as a pervert. Akemi, your turn. I went up to him and tugged on his sleeve so he would bend down a little. My classmates looked at me curiously. I know the hand signs, but how do you do it? I whispered. It was my turn to be embarrassed. He looked at me and then smiled kindly. It was odd why he was being nice. Just imagine who you want to turn into and focus your chakra. It's okay if you don't get it on your first try. I did as he said. I pictured my mother in my head. I felt a power from within me and used it. Then I did the hand sign and felt different. I looked around, but it felt different. Everyone felt smaller. I didn't have to crane my neck to look at anyone. Good job, Akemi. Who are you? Huh? My confusion made me lose my concentration. A big cloud of smoke surrounded me and I felt normal again. You transformed successfully for your first time. Who did you imagine? My mother. I answered without thinking, still wondering how I did that. She's very beautiful. I smiled at that and heard some gasps but ignored them. Thank you. Class POVs. The class saw as Akemi turned into a beautiful woman with dark, scarlet, red hair. She stood tall and proud. Good job, Akemi. Who are you? Huh? She replied confused. She poofed back to herself. She was very attractive as herself. She was short but petite and slim with curves. Her long black hair was as dark as the night, and her straight bangs fell over her forehead near her amber-colored eyes. You transformed successfully for your first time. Who did you imagine? Iruka asked. That shocked a lot of the class. Most thought that was her first time? Wow, she's good. Nara Shikamaru noted she was a fast learner. Most of the girls were jealous of her looks, hoping they wouldn't steal their Sasuke. The boys were intensely interested in her. My mother. She's very beautiful. Thank you. She smiled for the first time. It was sweet and warm. She had a faraway look in her eyes like she was remembering something. Some people gasped. Suddenly a dog ran up to her and landed on her, causing her to lose balance and fall over. The dog was licking her face. What? A dog? A boy, the owner of the dog, walked out towards her. Sorry about Akamaru. Hi beautiful, I'm Inuzuka Kiba. He offered his hand to her to get up. She stared up at him. You think I'm pretty? Of course. At his reply her face turned red. It was a sight to see. Everyone in the room found her blushing face cute, even the girls. Sakura thought if she's blushing that must mean she likes him. One less rival to worry about. Cha, Sasuke is mine. Akemi got up and walked toward Naruto. Akemi, was that really your mom? Yeah, she's pretty. No wonder you're so pretty too. She blushed again. Huh? I thought she liked Kiba. Why is she blushing at Naruto? Sakura thought. Shikamaru stared at her thoughtfully and then walked straight up to her. He's right. You're very beautiful. She was red all over again. Thought so? Do you blush every time someone calls you pretty? Akemi glared at him and turned redder. No. Which only solidified Shikamaru's statement. The boys in the room kept that new information in their heads for later. He grinned at that. I'm guessing you have little experience with men. I know how to talk to guys and girls. It's just that no one ever told me I'm pretty. She defended herself but shut herself up, not wanting to give out further information. Go away. You're being rude. Yeah, Shikamaru. She doesn't want you here. Naruto added in. Shikamaru didn't even pay attention to him. He just walked back to his place in line. Akemi had turned herself away, trying to hide her blush. Some laughed at her attitude. It was cute. She turned and glared at everyone. You know what? My first impression when none of you helped wasn't great, but it looks like my impression was right. I've decided I really dislike you all. She stomped over to her desk and sat down. Alright class, let's finish the transformation review. Iruka brought the rest of class to take their turns. Afterwards everyone sat down and started doing their schoolwork, but not without sneaking glances at Akemi. Still no one knew anything about her. Akemi's POV. The school day passed by relatively fast. Apparently the graduation exam was tomorrow, so I got Iruka to teach me how to do the clone jutsu. We didn't practice, he only showed me the hand signs. I had to walk back to Naruto's house by myself because Naruto had to go with Iruka to clean up his artwork. There was no openings for me to run, so I decided to stay for today. Sleeping in a room felt weird, so I dropped by Naruto's place and grabbed my bag and left. I looked around the village until I found a nice tree to sleep in. I went up the tree the way I usually did. I walked up it. It was a handy trick I learned over the years, although now that I know about chakra, it could be possible that my tree walking is a jutsu. It would also explain why transforming was so easy for me. I settled in for the night and soon fell asleep. Poke, hey, poke, what? I opened my eyes to see the kid that was making fun of me yesterday. What do you want? He looks at me funny. I just saw you sleeping in the tree and went to check if you were alright. Well, I'm fine, so go away. Then I thought of something. Wait, what time is it? I asked, embarrassed. It's around 7. You better hurry or you'll be late for school. We have the graduation exam today. I don't care if I'm late. It's not like I plan on staying here anyway. Thanks anyway. I don't know his name. Nara Shikamaru. Oh, thanks Shikamaru. I'm Himura Akemi. Anyway, see ya. I turned and jumped out of the tree. I started walking the opposite direction of the academy but saw Pirate standing against a pole. He looked up from whatever he was reading and gave me one look. I glared at him, he seemed unfazed. I turned the direction of the academy. I arrived at the academy 5 minutes later. I walked in right after Iruka was done explaining what the exam was going to be like probably. He looked at me disapprovingly. Good, his happy manner was too much for me. I can deal with his disapproving look better, I've got plenty of those looks before. Akemi, you're late. I know. His sweat dropped. Take your seat, Akemi. I sat next to Naruto and near the black-haired boy. Knowing he wasn't going to get anywhere with me, he turned back to the class. I will call your names individually and you will come into that room over there where I and another teacher will examine you. He started calling names. I turned to Naruto to talk to him. Hi Naruto. He smiled. I'm starting to learn that besides yelling he smiles a lot often. Hi Akemi, where were you last night? I couldn't find you anywhere when I got home. In a tree. I replied simply. The black-haired boy turned toward us in confusion. Why would you be at his house? I live with him. He nodded. Great response, right? Did you notice my sarcasm? He left his seat then because he was called. I was called next in line. Naruto was going next. See ya, Naruto. Good luck Akemi. I hope you get it. It's okay if I don't get it. I don't plan on staying anyway. Good luck to you too. I left before he could reply. I entered the room and automatically sensed a corrupt presence. Okay Akemi, you already know me. This is Mizuki and he will be testing you along with me. He pointed to the man next to him. He had white hair and was smiling kindly, but I could tell it was fake. I knew what a fake smile looked like. Plenty of my old villagers used to give them to me before they became openly hostile. I glared at him. All you have to do is perform the clone jutsu and make 3 clones. Okay. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I did the hand signs and focused my chakra. I pulled out a small amount of chakra and did the just you. I opened my eyes to see about 20 of myself talking to each other in the room. I turned to the 2 teachers who were staring at my clones wide-eyed. Sue, you pass, you definitely pass. Come up and collect you headband. Iruka said happily. Mizuki was eyeing me. I don't need it, I said automatically. No, you earned it. Here, take it. Iruka persisted, shoving the headband into my hand. I took it and shoved it into my bag. Mizuki was still eyeing me. I started walking out, then I turned at the doorway. Oh, Mizuki, right? He nodded, still looking at me. Don't try anything and stop looking at me like a pedophile. I turned and walked out of the room. Akemi, Iruka yelled after me. I walked out the building and sat on a swing waiting for Naruto. Naruto came out a few minutes after me looking dejected. Hey Naruto, how'd it do? I offered him the swing seat. He sat down. I didn't pass, he said without his usual happy spirit. He turned his head up to me since I was standing. How about you? No, I lied. Luckily, since I put the headband in my bag, he wouldn't know I was lying. It's not like I'm going to school after this anyway, so I won't be wearing the headband. I patted his back awkwardly. I don't know how to comfort people well, this was hard. I'm sure you'll get it next time. I reassured him. A shadow fell over both of us. I turned my head to see who was beside us. I glared as soon as I saw who it was. Iruka was just being tough because he cares Naruto. He smiled down on Naruto. Mizuki, didn't I tell you no funny business? I glared at him more. Excuse us, Akemi, could you please leave? I have some things to talk to Naruto about. I didn't move. You know Naruto, I know a way you could become a genin. How about you come with me and we'll talk about it? Naruto perked up at that. Yes, Mizuki-sensei. Wait, Naruto, I really don't think you should go with him. I warned, standing in front of him. He got off the swing and walked around me. Don't worry, Akemi. You can come too, that way both of us can pass and become genin together. Believe it, he said while smiling. Mizuki noted what Naruto said about me not passing and looked to me. I'm not going anywhere with that pedo, and neither should you. Before Naruto could think about it, Mizuki grabbed his arm and started walking away with him. Let's go, Naruto. Akemi won't be able to join us though. He was glaring at me now. He and Naruto were leaving now. Sigh, that idiot. I followed after them. I lost track of them a couple times but finally found Naruto in a clearing with a huge scroll attached to him. Naruto, what are you doing here? You should really get back home before that pedo comes back, I said while pulling on his arm to start him to move. He didn't move. No, Akemi, Mizuki-sensei told me if I master a jutsu from this scroll, Ruka-sensei will have to pass me. Then I'll become a ninja, believe it. I saw he wasn't going to leave, so I stayed with him while he practiced the shadow clone just you. After many failed attempts, he finally got it done. I heard a noise from behind us. I turned to see a really pissed Iruka looking down on us. It's all over. He smiled meanly. Naruto laughed and explained to Iruka what he told me. Iruka's face got confused and I figured out that Mizuki would be coming soon if he showed Naruto this hideaway. As if on cue, a bunch of kunai shot out towards Naruto. Iruka and I pushed Naruto away. I see you found our little hideaway. I got hit in the stomach by one of the knives. And just when it almost healed entirely up. Worst luck ever. I looked up to see Mizuki smiling down on us sadistically. See? This is why I only wanted to stick around for a small amount of time. These people are freaks. Sometimes first impressions should stay as last impressions also. After Naruto beat the crap out of the pedophile, Mizuki, and I was forcibly brought to the hospital to stop my bleeding. I learned what the demon possessing Naruto is and am planning to investigate it more thoroughly since it seems like everyone know what it is but me. Naruto and Iruka had this whole little cute, not the actual father but still close enough father-son scene. Naruto got his headband in the end and, less than I'm sorry TTT, became a ninja. He felt sorry I didn't pass, also at least he did before a confused Iruka told him I passed with flying colors. He was really angry at me for lying but less than forgave me because he knew I did it to not hurt his feelings. A couple days passed before orientation. Naruto had a playdate with some kid named Konohamaru who had a huge "I'm living in my grandfather's parents' shadow complex." I didn't hang out with them but Naruto came home with a lot of bruises that day, so I'm not even going to bother asking what happened. My wound had finally fully healed. I spent my days secretly borrowing stealing scrolls from the library. The justice I found on the scrolls could help me later on in my travels. I didn't steal any super important or classified scrolls, so no harm no foul. I did try to escape a couple times. It turns out the adult ninjas are rotating who's watching me. It's been Yoga Man's, Guy, in case you forgot, turn for the past couple days, so I've been staying in the village for the time being. Shiver, imagine what would happen if he caught me. And I don't think, the spirit of youth, trick is going to work again. The orientation for my class is going to be tomorrow. I still haven't worn the headband. Naruto keeps pressing me to wear it since I'm a ninja now. My day went by normally. I went to the library, studied, ate some dinner. Meaning onigiri. I still couldn't use chopsticks. Of course Naruto doesn't know that, he just thinks I like onigiri, so he keeps buying it for me when he goes out to buy dinner for us, but I don't plan on telling him anytime soon. I don't like people knowing my weaknesses. We both went to bed. Naruto finally convinced me to sleep near his house. I slept in the tree next to his house. I don't like sleeping inside. I woke up to Pirate Man's face in my eyes. I screamed, almost falling out of the tree. What do you want, Pirate? He hasn't been checking up on me in a while. I was accompanying Guy this morning while he had duty. Just making sure you go to school today. I jumped off the tree and started heading to the academy because I knew he was getting me there forced or not, and I would like to not be forcibly dragged through the classroom yet again. Where's your headband? He examined me. In my bag. Give it to me. I reached in my bag and gave it to him, not caring what he did with it since I didn't want it. All of a sudden he pulled me towards him. He held onto my arm firmly. Hey, what are doing? Let go. Are you finally admitting you're a UAL harasser? Hey, let go. He ignored me and pulled my bangs up. He placed the headband on the top of my head covering my bangs and then pulled parts of my hair to the sides of my face. Lastly, he pulled some of my hair in the back into a ponytail. I finally pulled away. What was that for? What did you to my hair? He looked at me approvingly and then smiled. You got that headband because you passed. You should wear it. Then just to piss me off more, he pinched my cheeks. You look very adorable. My cheeks turned red. I hope he thinks that's from his pinching. It's bad enough my class knew about my blushing problem. I don't need more people knowing. Oh, that's a nice shade of red. See, even you can be cute sometimes. That's it. I stomped on his foot really hard, satisfied when I saw him kneel down in pain. I started running to the area of the gates. I was fully healed now so I could take the guards. I turned one last time to see Yoga Man following after me. My eyes widened and I momentarily forgot about getting out of Konoha. Now I was just running to get away from Yoga Man. I ran on the tops of the buildings, a trick I learned from Naruto, away from the freak in green. I kept running. I passed my class's window and saw something I never thought I would ever see. I stopped dead in my tracks right outside the window staring in. No one had noticed me yet. Naruto and that black-haired boy kissing each other. I kept staring. Suddenly someone's hand tackled me by the waist and I went into the classroom with Yoga Man holding me down. Everyone turned to see me. Even though normally I would explain why I was on the floor being held down by a man in green tights, but all I could process to say was, Naruto, you should have told me you were gay. I always wanted to meet a gay person. The whole class forgot about Yoga Man on me and either yelled at what I said or laughed. While they were laughing, I turned to my pursuer. You know, Yoga Man, since I'm already in school, I think you don't have to hold me down anymore. Of course, have a youthful day with you fellow classmates, he said as he turned around and hopped out of the window. He is so weird, I shivered. There was that weird presence again. I felt like someone was watching me. I turned to where I felt the stare but only saw a corner. I kept looking thinking I would find it but I couldn't. I decided to ignore it and turned back to a gagging Naruto. So Naruto, about you finally confessing your duality to the world. I left it at that. No, AKEMI, it isn't like that. I am not gay. He yelled. So the black-haired boy is gay instead and was coming onto you? The black-haired boy whipped around when he heard what I said. I am not gay and Naruto, you are going to pay for that. He stated coldly. So neither of you are gay? I said disappointingly. I really wanted one of them to be gay. Now I'll never know a gay person. No, they both yelled. Ah, third person's POV, before Akemi barged in. That's Uchiha Sasuke, the last survivor of the Uchiha clan? One asked. Yes, he a prodigy among his classmates. The Hokage replied. Their view closed up on a blonde-headed child. And that's Naruto. He always seems to be getting into trouble. Soon all the people in the room watched as both young men glared at each other. A boy in front of Naruto pushed him by accident. All the adults in the room watched stunned as both boys were kissing one another. Then a crash pulled their attention away. There, lying on the floor, was Himura Akemi, the small black-haired child who was giving them all their trouble. What she said next stunned the Junin in the room more. Naruto, you should have told me you were gay. I always wanted to meet a gay person. Some of the adults laughed suddenly from her statement. They watched as she got Guy to leave and then she froze slightly. She scanned around room looking for something specific. She turned toward them. She looked confused but shrugged it off and started talking to both boys. Lord Hokage, can she see us? No, but she can sense us. We will have to be careful with this one. He turned his head toward the Junin in the room. We will have an uneven amount of students this year. Who would be willing to take Akemi as their fourth member in their squad? He looked around. All Junin teachers raised their hands wanting the talented little girl under their training. The Hokage sighed. You can't all have her. Let me decide this. He thought about it for a while and decided. Akemi's POV. So you're absolutely positive you're not even the slightest bit gay? I asked hopefully. For the last time. No. Sasuke yelled at me. I learned his name was Uchiha Sasuke. He wasn't much of a talker. I really couldn't see why most of the girls in class liked him. Speaking of girls, they completely beat up Naruto for stealing their Sasuke's first kiss. Hey Akemi, you look good with your headband. I told you you should wear it. Naruto said. Sasuke looked up from his desk and looked at me also. His eyes turned into confusion. Weren't your eyes red last time I saw you? Yes, they were. My eyes were a black-brown today. Oh yeah, you're right. Why are your eyes black today, Akemi? Naruto asked. Because they are. Sasuke narrowed his eyes in suspicion to my reply. But before he could say anything, Iruka came in. Alright class. He went into a whole speech about how even though they're genin now, there are going to be even harder trials from now on. He said about how the class was going to be split into 3-man teams, but since I was here, well, excuse me for being here. You people are the ones making me forcibly stay. That there was going to be one 4-man team. He started calling out names. When he got to Team 7 he called Naruto's name. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Himura Akemi. Naruto and Sakura switched the cheering and "I'm doomed" positions after each other. Sasuke stayed the same, emotionless, and I didn't care, although having Naruto on my team made it more fun. Next he told us to have lunch with our teams and then we would meet up with our sensei. Already having an idea of what my team would be like, I didn't try to eat lunch with them. I'm guessing Cigarette Man doesn't want his wallet back because I still got it. I went into a store and bought some onigiri. I went back to the academy and ate on the swing. When the bell rang signaling the end of lunch, I walked back to the class and sat in any seat. My team came too along with the rest of the class. Hours passed, one by one teams left, but our teacher still wasn't here. I mean, even Iruka left. What the hell is taking this guy so goddamn long? Naruto was complaining the whole time. He got up all of a sudden and walked to the door with a chalkboard in his hand. Naruto, what are you doing? Sakura asked. Our sensei is late, so I'm going to punish him. He chuckled at the image in his head of how it was going to go down. You shouldn't do that. You could get in trouble for that. I could hear her cheering him on in her head. It was funny. It's strange how she has two minds in her head. She weird but alright. Our teacher is an elite ninja, a Junin. There's no way he'd fall for a stupid prank like that. Idiot. Well, that's rude to say, Sasuke. He only HN'd at me. Seriously? Is that his favorite word or something? Great vocabulary he has. Sasuke's right, Naruto. I laughed. She's still cheering for him on the inside. We all shut up when we heard footsteps coming in our direction. We stared intently at the door as a hand pulled it open. In walks Pirate, getting hit on the head with the chalkboard. Naruto bursts out laughing. Sakura's apologizing for him. Sasuke's in his emo corner. Maybe he's sad because he was proven wrong. Pirate looks at us and smiles. My first impression of you guys are, you're all idiots. The others looked kind of depressed that their new sensei didn't like them. I knew better though. That's harsh, but my first impression of you was that you were a pirate, so that makes us even. I smiled at him smugly. Hey Pirate, who knew you'd turn out to be my teacher? I really hope you're prepared. He looks over at me. I see you kept the headband on, Akemi. That jerk. I bet he's smirking under that damn mask. He takes us up to the roof and has us introduce ourselves. You should introduce yourself first, sensei. You seem pretty suspicious. Alright, I'm Hitaki Kakashi. He emphasized his name and then looked at me. If he thinks I'm going to stop calling him pirate, he's dead wrong. My likes and dislikes. I don't feel like telling you. My dreams for the future? Never thought about it, and I have lots of hobbies. Now why don't you go? That was completely useless. All he really told us was his name. I had to agree with Sakura. It was a complete waste of time. I was really hoping to get some dirt on him, but now I got nothing. My name's Uzumaki Naruto, believe it. I like instant cup ramen and I really like Ichiraku ramen. I hate waiting for my ramen to be done after you pour the water in. My hobby is eating and comparing ramen taste. And my future dream is to become the greatest Hokage. That way everyone will have to stop disrespecting me and look up to me instead. He said the last part with conviction. I hope his dream comes true. Alright, next. Sakura then went up. I'm Haruno Sakura. What I like, glance at Sasuke. I mean the person I like, glance at Sasuke. My hobbies are glance. My dream is glance plus slight squeal. And your dislikes? Pirate looked slightly uncomfortable. Could this possibly be his weakness? I could use this to my advantage later. Naruto. Quick mood change, she's still funny though if you ignore her obvious borderline creeper obsession with Sasuke. I was yet again in 1 week trying to comfort a devastated Naruto. Sasuke went up next. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I hate a lot of things and I don't particularly like anything. What I have is not a dream but a goal because I will make it into a reality. I plan to restore my clan and kill a certain man. He finished darkly. Everyone had mixed reactions. I think Naruto thought Sasuke meant him when Sasuke mentioned killing someone because Naruto looked like he was about to contemplate jumping off the roof to facing an angry Uchiha. Sakura was an odd mix of sadness and admiration, again funny girl. Pirate was watching him warily. My turn. Akemi, you're last, go. The rest of my teammates looked interested to know more about me. I don't want to. He raised an eyebrow to this. You have to. You know all you need to know about me, my name. Besides, it's pretty much like your intro just without the waste of time added in. The others looked shocked I would talk to a teacher like that. He sighed and decided to ignore my existence. That's good. You all have your own unique ideas. Tomorrow will be your first mission. It will be a survival exercise. Survival training? What kind? Naruto asked. At that, pirate started laughing. It was kind of creepy and now I was contemplating jumping off the roof. What's so funny, sensei? Sakura asked. If I answer your question you'll flip out. When we all gave him a confused look. Of the 28 graduates only 3 teams will actually be accepted as genin. The rest have to be sent back to the academy. This is a pass-failed test only. You only have a 35% chance of actually passing. At their shocked faces he laughed again. I didn't care, I'm leaving first chance I get so it won't matter to me. I told you you'd flip. Anyway, meet up at the practice field 7 o'clock sharp. Oh, you might want to skip breakfast tomorrow. Why? Because you'll throw up if you don't. With that he smiled and flashed away somewhere. Half of the team went rampant, guess who? Isn't this just a great crew? Less than sarcasm greater than, just in case you missed it, a pirate teacher, hyperactive blondie, Mr. King of no emotions, a love-struck teenage girl, and me. Yay, all aboard, less than again, sarcasm, let the fun begin. Naruto and I walked to the training grounds around 6:50, we met up with Sakura on the way. She ignored Naruto. She and I exchanged our good mornings. She still seems to dislike me not as much as the other girls from class, which I still don't understand why they hated me, but we got along fairly decent. When we got the Sasuke was already there wide awake and standing. We stood too. We waited for Pirate and waited. Jesus Christ, what is taking this guy so long? He never seems to be this late when I'm trying to escape. Sakura and Naruto were sitting on the ground, I was sitting on the tree, and the great Uchiha was wait you'll never guess. Standing. That's right, standing for 3 hours, man he's got good endurance, I'll give him that. I was starting to think we went to the wrong training ground. I don't know the training grounds. I mean I followed Naruto here this morning. Finally the pirate decides to show up. He's walking leisurely along like he didn't just show up 3 hours late for his own training. Naruto and Sakura stood up immediately very pissed off. You, late, they both yelled. Man, imagine if they ever met actual twins. I think they'd be more synchronized in thoughts than the twins. Pirate didn't look even the bit guilty for standing up his students, just offered a lazy smile. I'm sorry. A black cat crossed my path this morning so I had to go around a long way. Liar? See? Synchronizing. He seemed unfazed, pulling out an alarm and setting it. He put it down on the wooden stump. Okay, that clock is set to noon. Your objective is to get one of these bells from me by then. If you don't succeed, you'll be tied to those stumps over there and miss lunch, being forced to watch your teammates and I eat right in front of you. Of course you'll also be sent back to the academy. He ended that on a happy note. Jerk. There's only 3 bells, obviously he wants someone to fail. You can use anything to try to get these bells. Kunai. Shuriken. But sensei, that's dangerous. You could get hurt. Sakura whined. She has not seen this guy when he's been chasing after me. The only way you could hurt him is if you hit him where the sun don't shine, and believe me, I've tried. It didn't work, he dodged it and bonked me on the head really hard after that. Naruto didn't seem to have the same problem as Sakura though, since he ran straight at Pirate with a kunai. Really fast, Pirate grabbed Naruto's hand and pulled him into a headlock. I've been teaching myself to track his movements, I can almost see him when he moves really fast now. I didn't say start yet, but good, you came at me with the intention to kill. I'm starting to like you guys. He smiled. He pushed Naruto away from him, where Naruto promptly fell. Go. Sakura and Sasuke disappeared immediately. I just slowly walked behind a tree. Naruto went at it with Pirate. If light bulbs could go off, I would definitely have one on the top of my head. Pirate said Yoga Man wouldn't be supervising me since he would be watching me while he trained us. And he's going to be busy with Naruto for a while. This is my chance. I could make it. I started sneakily walking the direction leading out of the training grounds and toward the village gates. Me and my great ninja skills. I turned to see if anyone was behind me. No one. I started running now. I was so happy, I was grinning, and I thought I almost made it home free when Pirate suddenly showed up out of nowhere. Akemi, I believe you have a mission you're supposed to be completing. Damn you, Pirate. Weren't you busy with Naruto? Where's he? Language, Akemi. He warned. Naruto's tied to a stump. The Uchiha is grounded at the moment. He then chuckled like it was a private inside joke. And Sakura is passed out somewhere near Sasuke. You're the only one left. We still have a good 15 minutes left before the timer rings. Want to try and get a bell also? He pulled out a book while talking and was reading it. What is he reading all the time? A new light bulb went off in my head. I watched him cautiously. Then I ran into a nearby bush and made 4 shadow clones. I was paying attention when Naruto took that scroll to practice. The 3 nodded their heads while I went back out of the bush. Ready whenever you are, Pirate. I took a fighting stance. He put his book back and got ready, knowing me since he was always bringing me back when I tried to escape. I ran forward, jabbing and punching and kicking at him, to which he dodged by narrowly. I see you've gotten faster. Of course, Pirate. Last time you only caught me because I was wounded. You're not winning this battle so easily this time. I might not be a ninja, but I'm a damn pretty good fighter. He laughed. I believe that. While he wasn't looking, my 2 clones jumped behind him and grabbed him, but a moment later a log poofed where he just was. Looking for me? I looked up to see him standing on a tree branch. Where did you learn the shadow clone? Just you? Naruto. When he practiced it, I paid attention to the hand signs. Ah, well, even with it you couldn't get what you wanted either, just like the rest of your teammates. I wouldn't be too sure about that. I smiled like I just won, which confused him. Now. My 3rd clone dashed forward and grabbed what we wanted. My 3rd clone sprung a strong chain around Pirate, effectively tying him down for a good 20 minutes before he could possibly unknot or escape my chain. My other 2 clones and I booked it after my 3rd clone. Pirate looked confused about what just happened until he saw what I took. He screamed my name angrily. I kept running. Halfway back the bell rang. When I finally got to the stumps where my teammates were all gathered, I came crashing in, yelling, "We got it! We got it!" They looked toward me shocked. Then I took one of my clones' hand in both of mine and spun around in a circle singing, "We got it! We got it! We got it!" Now they were looking at me as if I was crazy. Akemi, Akemi, you got what? Naruto asked. Pirate was right, he was tied to the stump. Naruto's eyes widened. Did you get one of the bells? That's awesome, Akemi. I knew you could, believe it. Sakura looked at me amazed. Sasuke was glaring at me, probably jealous. Get the bells? No. Soon their faces turned disappointed except Sasuke, who looked slightly smug now. I got something way more valuable. They perked up at that, curious to what I managed to get. I raised a book. See here? This is the book Pirate always seems to be reading. Aren't you curious about what's he reading? They seemed less enthusiastic about what I got but still were slightly curious. I opened the book to a random page. Okay, here goes. I started reading out loud. She was beautiful, with luscious curves and hands that... I stopped staring at the book, horrified at what I was reading next. I screamed and threw the book down like if I kept reading it I would be cursed to damnation. I looked at the book laying on the ground for what seemed forever. Until Sakura's voice broke my trance. Akemi, what's wrong? What did the book have in it? I walked straight up to her. I put my hands on both her shoulders and stared straight into her eyes. You must never read one of Pirate's books. You'll be scarred for the rest of your life. Promise me, you won't go near his books or even try to peek. I stated seriously. Sakura seemed slightly freaked out and slightly afraid about what I saw in the book. I promise. I sighed. Good. Akemi, what did you see? It's better if you never know. You two promise me also. I turned to both of them. I don't have to, Sasuke started, all superior-like. Promise. Okay, both boys said at the same time. We promise. I was relieved. I can't believe Pirate actually walks out in broad daylight reading that book. He's training children right now. What if gets some ideas? Shiver to replace my outburst, I switched to a new topic. So did any of you get a bell? All of them looked deflated at the mention of the bells again. No, I really wanted to get one too. I'm definitely not going to back to the academy. Believe it, he really doesn't want to go through the graduation exam again, does he? Okay, Naruto, here's a plan. I tied up Pirate and he shouldn't be able to get out for another 6 to 7 minutes. How about we all work together to get the bells and you three can take them? It's not like I need them anyway. At that, Naruto straightened up. Yeah, you're right. I can do this, believe it. Thanks, Akemi. There's no way I'm working with a bunch of losers. Well then, Sasuke, where's your bell? Since we're losers and we don't have bells and you're not a loser, then you should have a bell, shouldn't you? So where is it? He only glared at the ground. Also, didn't you say before that he's an elite ninja, a junin, and that we're just genin? He glared even more. So don't you think us working together to get the bells instead of alone would give us a better chance at getting those bells? He huffed. Fine. He accepted begrudgingly. Sakura agreed also now that Sasuke was on it. I cut Naruto's rope so he wasn't on the stump anymore. We gathered around while I told them the plan. Okay, well, here's the plan. 5 minutes later. Akemi, where's my book? Pirate came in. I was standing alone. Well, Pirate, finally get out of my knots, huh? Your book? It's probably still lying on the ground, smashed and muddy from where I threw it when I saw what you read. By the way, you should really change your reading preference, especially when you're right in front of young impressionable minds. You might just get in trouble one day for it. I gave the signal. Well, I think that he didn't get to finish because Sasuke did his fireball jutsu behind Pirate. Pirate's eye widened. He barely managed to dodge right when Naruto came out and kicked Pirate before he could perform the substitution jutsu. One of my clones pinned both his hands and legs to the tree he was by with kunais. While he was immobilized, Sakura jumped ahead and grabbed the bells around his belt quickly while my clone stayed close by in case he broke free. She got them and ran to me and the other guys. So Pirate, do you think they pass? But who gets the bells now? He smiled smugly at us, thinking we would start fighting. Those three can have it. I don't have any use of passing since I'll be gone soon enough. You were supposed to get the bells before the alarm went off. What alarm, sensei? Sakura asks innocently. She's a good actor. He looked around but didn't see the alarm he said anywhere in sight anymore. Unless he looks in a dumpster 3 blocks west of here. He stared at all of us for a while. Why did you guys decide to team up now? You didn't do it before. Because we're teammates and we're supposed to help one another. Naruto said at last. Sasuke agreed. Yeah, because we're a team. Sakura added in. You're a team, huh? Well, that changes everything. He waited for a long time, not bothering to tell us what a change. You pass. What is wrong with this guy's grading system? I bet it's messed up from his books. What? We all yelled. So that's how saying the same thing in unison feels. Before you all were acting like selfish children. Naruto, you went at it head on without any consideration for your teammates. Sakura, you didn't help Naruto even though he was right in front of you, but instead went to Sasuke. Sasuke, you thought too highly of yourself to even help any of your teammates. And Akemi, you were the worst. You didn't even do the exercise, you ran out. Wow, he sure knows how to make children feel guilty. Good thing everything he said about me was true, so I don't have to feel guilty. But when you all teamed up and fought me, you all thought like a team. You worked together and accomplished your task. You worked like true ninjas. You all passed because you realized that you needed to work together as a team. Everyone brightened at being praised. Yeah, we passed. Believe it, I knew I would pass. Naruto bragged. Sakura started cheering too. Even Sasuke seemed pleased. How about as a reward for passing we all go out to eat? Naruto cheered louder and raced Sasuke to Ichiraku Ramen's place. Sakura followed after happily. I started walking too, but a hand grabbed onto my shoulder. I turned to see a dangerous pirate smiling in a super calm before the storm smile. I started sweating, becoming nervous. Hey, what's up, pirate? So Akemi, where exactly did you say my book was? Damn, this dude can be scary sometimes, especially for his horrid books. I stomped on his foot and ran ahead of the others. Akeem MMMII. And this, ladies and gentlemen, happens when you open Pirate's disgusting books. Sasuke, point B. Sakura reporting at point C. Akemi being forcibly taken against her will at point D. Pirate took off his headset thingy for a second, turning to me. Akemi, be quiet. He is still super pissed about the book. Maybe if you didn't run off at every chance you get, you wouldn't have to be babysat by me. Ha, you finally admit it. No one's supervising me. You all just babysitting so I can't leave. He ignored me, putting back on his headset. Naruto, where are you? Naruto? Naruto, I'm at point A, believe it. What are your distances from the target? Everyone replied the same distance, 5 meters. Alright, now, we all jumped out from our spots, more like Pirate dragged me out. Naruto got to it first, just in case you haven't figured out, it's a cat. Yes, a cat. We're finding a missing cat. Our job is the cat. I heard Naruto scream, so I turned my head to see the cat clawing Naruto's face off while Sasuke was calmly confirming it's our target. Sakura was just ogling Sasuke. At least I know what she wants for Christmas, not that I'd be around by then, but kidnapping and stuffing someone in a sack isn't as hard as you'd think. If it's anything, besides illegal, it's a good workout. Naruto, stop, you're freaking the cat out. I pulled the cat away from him. At first it was struggling but calmed down after a while of me petting it. Freaking him out? He's the dumb one that scratched my face. Well, you grabbed it upside down. What would you do first thing if you got captured by a stranger upside down at that? He thought about it for a second. I guess I would fight back too. He admitted begrudgingly. We walked back to Gramps' office to give Tora back to his owner. As soon as I saw Tora's owner, I was questioning why he didn't run away sooner. I certainly would have. It's no wonder it ran away. Sakura commented. That is animal abuse in such a bizarre way that it should be considered a new form of torture. I said, ha ha, that dumb cat got what he deserved. Naruto laughed triumphantly. I don't care what you think, Naruto, but I'm saving that cat. It's just too cruel not to. How? Sakura asked. I smiled ruefully. I have my ways. Sasuke looked like he was going to actually join in on our whisper conversation, but before he could, Gramps started talking about our next couple of jobs. Naruto flipped and started ranting about how we should get better jobs than catching cats. Silence. Gramps yelled. Pirate apologized. They talked some more. I wasn't really paying attention to them today. I wanted to get to a tree and nap. Finally Gramps relented and gave us a C-ranked mission. Apparently we are going to be guarding someone. A really overwhelming smell of alcohol reached my nose suddenly. Ew, we're watching a drunk. I only know one guy who smells this drunk half the time. And lo and behold, there entered Tazuna. He's drunk, anyone could see since he was walking tilted slightly. Wah? These are only *hic snot-nosed lil kids *, he slurred. Especially that blonde shorty. Does he even count as a ninja? He pointed at Naruto. Haha. Who's the idiot he's talking about? Oh, Naruto, ignorance is bliss sometimes. He still didn't get it until we all lined up. He was second shortest, the top of my head barely made it past his shoulders. What? There's no way I'm shorter than him. No, I finally thought I wasn't the shortest. I was kind of pissed about being the shortest. Is it Akemi? She knew at being a ninja, but she's good. He tried defending me. It's sweet how he's defending me, but I will not be considered weak. Naruto, sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm not blonde. My words sank in. He flew towards Tazuna, but before he could even touch him, Pirate grabbed the back of his shirt. I'll demolish you. Now, Naruto, you can't injure the client. We're supposed to be protecting him. I don't know, Pirate. Tazuna is almost always drunk. Drunk people are never good news. I don't think you should take this. Tazuna finally recognized me from his drunk state. You, Akemi, don't be telling them stuff like that. You were always running your mouth in the village when you stayed there for a week. Nice to see you again too, Tazuna. I smiled and waved. Tazuna and I never got along well. I was too exciting for Tazuna's tastes, and he was always too drunk to really appreciate my awesomeness. Plus me always taking his alcohol and accidentally dumping them in the lake didn't exactly make a great friendship. Hope you hiding your liquor well for this trip. We could always renew our friendship with that old tradition of ours. Don't you dare. We're not even near a lake this time. You can't get rid of them. I'll find a way. You short brat. I am not short. Everyone else is just freaking tall. It's not my fault they're deformed to enormous proportions. I stamped my foot for emphasis. We were staring each other down. We heard an ahem and turned our heads to a confused group of people. Probably confused why a 12-year-old and 40-year-old were battling it out in Gramps' office. Yes, well, I'm Tazuna, Master Bridge Builder. I'm working on something that could change my country and I need to return. I expect to get there safe even if it costs you your lives. Always the dramatic one, Tazuna. He shot me a glare. I'll meet you at the gates in half an hour. Be there and don't be late. He grumbled before walking out the door. Naruto, let's go and pack. Tazuna was always the punctual freak even if he's always drunk. We all headed to our houses and packed. I just grabbed my bag while waiting for Naruto. Key rule for nomads, pack light. We reached the gate last cause Naruto took forever deciding what to pack until I came into the house, grabbed the necessities, and kicked him and his packed bag out the door. We started walking out the gates, then Naruto started talking about how excited it was to be outside the village for the first time. Traveling isn't as exciting as you'd think. It can be a real bother sometimes. We kept walking, me annoying Tazuna, Tazuna ignoring me, Naruto babbling the whole way, Sakura trying to talk with Sasuke, Sasuke ignoring Sakura, and Pirate reading his disgusting book. I already commented about his book but he only glared at me and kept reading his horrible book. We came up to a part of the road with a puddle right there. Suddenly two strange people attacked us, Pirate got killed. I started freaking out. I mean, Pirate wasn't all that bad. I grabbed my sword and immobilized one of the ninjas. My sword pressed up against his neck, while he was looking at me in startled shock. What did you do to him? A hand grabbed my shoulder. I turned around quickly ready to stab whoever it was until I saw who it was. Pirate, don't scare me like that. Stupid, I yelled while hugging him. He awkwardly hugged me back. I stopped hugging him realizing what I was doing. I pushed him back as hard as I could. I mean, if you died, who would I have to stalk me? Yoga Man would get lonely stalking me without you. He looked down at me. I don't know what type of emotion was in his eyes, I never saw it before. He patted my head and smiled at me. We wouldn't want that, now would we? Shut up, stop patting my head, I'm not a cat. Just get back to whatever you were doing before. He chuckled but turned back to everyone else. Good job Sasuke, Sakura, Akemi. I'm sorry for leaving you guys alone, I didn't think you would freeze Naruto. And cue the shame on Naruto's face. There it is. Sasuke made a dumb comment which made Naruto so mad that he decided to stab himself with his own kunai. After Sakura's masochist comment to Naruto, which I had to agree with, and Pirate bandaging Naruto's hand, Pirate took Tazuna with him to talk about what just happened. Afterward he came back and we walked to the boat. We all boarded the boat. On the boat Tazuna told us more about what was going on and his sob story. Pirate decided to continue on with the mission. Wait, Tazuna, that ugly dwarf Gato is still bugging you guys? Does he still hire thugs to bug you? I thought I dealt with him when I was there. You've met Gato before? Pirate asked surprised. Yeah, I beat the crap out of that little dwarf last time I was there. His thugs were weak and pathetic. I can't believe that moron is still doing that. I spat disgusted at what he did before I came into Tazuna's village. I might, possibly, only slightly like Tazuna and his family. He's hired more thugs and killers, even some Rouge ninjas when he realized you weren't there anymore. He's trying to kill me because I'm the master bridge builder. Tazuna then explained about how Gato is a big-time short rich guy who was trying to destroy the bridge because if it was built he wouldn't have control over the land of the waves anymore. The mist was starting to come in thicker as we came closer to land. Once the boat stopped, we got off and started heading to Tazuna's village. Naruto shot a couple of animals down with his kunai. Pointy objects in Naruto does not equal a fun time, I'll remember that from now. I felt a presence with killing intentions directed to us. Duck, Pirate said at the same time I yelled, hit the decks. What? We do have Pirate as the team leader. I pulled the closest person down onto the ground with everyone else. A sword came flying into our direction hitting a tree not far off from where we stood. If we hadn't fell earlier all of us would have been shish kebabed. On the sword stood a man in cow leg and arm warmers, no eyebrows, and a mask covering his face like Pirate just without the headband on his eye. He reminded me of a cowboy. Momichi Zabuza, Pirate said. A Rouge ninja from the village hidden in the mist. You guys stay back and protect Tazuna, He's on a whole different level from you guys. He sighed. If I'm going to be fighting you, I'll need this. He pulled his headband up, revealing his eye. It was red and had these black swirls in it. Sasuke sucked in his breath. Sharingan, he whispered. Naruto asked what it was. Naruto's lack of knowledge was a blessing for me since I had no knowledge of the ninja world. Sharingan is a visual dojutsu that can copy any genjutsu, taijutsu, or ninjutsu that reflects the attack back onto the attacker. The Sharingan is a form of dojutsu. There is a lot more to the Sharingan than that though. You got that right, boy, but that only scratches the surface of what the Sharingan is. It can analyze an opponent's attack and copy it down to the smallest details. Cowboy stated. He talked about pirate being in something called the bingo book, whatever that was. What I want to know is what bingo has to do with anything ninja. Maybe pirate is a world-renowned bingo player or something, but I just can't pirate in a room with old ladies shouting bingo, right? Enough talking. I need to kill that old man, so move it. He dashed forward to attack us. Pirate and Cowboy battled it out until Pirate got caught into a water orb. Then Naruto, Sasuke, and I formed a plan that hit Cowboy really hard. I kept feeling this presence nearby watching, but I ignored it. Pirate escaped the water ball after Cowboy got hit. Both battled again, and just when Pirate finally got the upper hand, a Senbon needle hit Cowboy directly in the neck. A tracker nin came and took him away. Afterward, Pirate collapsed to the ground. I kneeled down on the ground right in his hearing. You see, Pirate? I told you being involved with drunk people never ended as a pleasant experience. We had arrived to Tazuna's house where his grandson, Inari, annoying little brat, and his daughter, Tsunami. She was a kind person and had black hair like me. My slight like toward Tazuna's village might be because of Tsunami. She was a wonderful person. She slightly reminded me of Mother because of her kind attitude. She has been treating Pirate for the last couple days. He apparently was just tired from overuse of his Sharingan. She scolded him when he tried getting up after he finally woken up. It was funny sight to see the all-powerful genin following the orders of a regular woman. We reviewed what had happened earlier since Tsunami wouldn't let Pirate leave his bed. Pirate was telling us about the job of tracker nins when he started trailing off. I saw the wheels in his head turning while he thought. What wrong, sensei? Are you okay? Naruto asked. Tracker ninjas usually eliminate the entire body on the spot so they leave no room for error, but that tracker didn't. He took the body with him. My head went up slightly, looking into Pirate's eyes, catching on to what he was saying. You mean he's not dead? The others gasped at what I said while Pirate confirmed my suspicions. I regretting not following my instinct when I felt that strange presence while we were fighting. That tracker was probably that presence just waiting for the right time to take action. But you killed him. He couldn't possibly be alive. You're probably being paranoid. I'm afraid not, Mr. Tazuna. Trackers are trained to know how every part of the body operates. Causing the heart to temporarily stop while still keeping the body alive is not a hard feat for any tracker. He carried Zabuza away instead of dealing with him efficiently there. He also used Senbon needles, which have a precise effect, but are rarely fatal. From those two facts, the tracker wasn't there to kill Zabuza but more likely to save him. With this new information sinking in, Pirate got up with his crutches, walking near the door. Come, if Zabuza is still alive, I need to teach you guys a new technique. Sakura complained about how Pirate was still healing. He kept walking to the door. Before we could all walk out of the room, that little downer Inari walked in. Mom, don't you see these people are going to die? Gato and his men will find them and kill them. I beg to differ, brat. Last time I was here I beat the stuffing out of that dumb dwarf. I scoffed. He only looked at me in defiance, not wanting me to break what he wanted to believe. What did you say, you little brat? I'm a ninja, soon to be Hokage. Believe it, and I will easily defeat Gato. He's no match for a great ninja like me. Naruto boasted proudly. Inari only looked at him in disgust. Ha, you think you're a hero? You're only a stupid kid with dumb ideas in your head. There's no such things as heroes. If you want to keep living, then go back where you came from and don't come back. With that he stood and left the room, slamming the door. I'm going to look at the ocean. Don't bother me, he yelled through the door. Well, Tazuna, I see that you bratty grandson is still the same as ever. Cheery as a solar eclipse. I told him sarcastically. He shot me a glare but otherwise didn't say much else. Sakura again tried to convince Pirate to rest and wait until the next day to train, with which he reluctantly agreed to after Tsunami urged him also. We all ate and went to bed afterward. I learned a new trick with those cursed chopsticks so that no one knows I can't use them. As long as I don't have to pick anything up with them, I'm good. I make up an excuse until everyone has ate, then I go down and eat the food Tsunami left for me so they don't see me eating. I have just been picking up the plate and shoving the food in my mouth with help from the chopsticks. I don't want people seeing me like that, it would be disgraceful. Unfortunately, I think they're starting to get suspicious. I'll probably make it a couple more days before I really have to worry. Until then I'll be practicing how to use the damn things. I woke up and went downstairs to eat breakfast, which was an apple. No chopsticks required. Oh yeah, baby. After breakfast, Pirate got us all out to a clearing with loads of trees. I think this might have been one of my sleeping grounds when I was here before. Okay, what now, Pirate? I'm sure you didn't make us come out here just to enjoy the beauty of nature. You are correct, Akemi. I want you to climb one of these trees. I looked at him skeptically. He's really counting this as training. Did he and Tazuna have a small drinking party while we weren't looking? Cause his thinking is obviously not in the right state if he thinks this is legit training. What? That's easy, sensei. Naruto said, really surprised that Pirate was making him do something so simple. Sakura and Sok were also confused about how this counted as training. So, you're training us to climb trees? Like squirrels do? Are you sure Tazuna didn't get you drunk, or did you really get hit hard when Cowboy fought you? Cowboy? He asked, confused. Yeah, Cowboy. That guy you fought. You know, cow arm and leg warmers, eyebrow-less, wears a mask like you just without the headband? Did you get knocked in the head? You might have amnesia if you already forgot a guy you battled just a few days ago that looked like that. How does that turn into a cowboy? He sighed at my comment. Forget it. Also, Akemi, I'm perfectly fine. Your definition of fine or mine? Because in your normal state you go walking around the entire village reading those disgusting things you consider literature. So I'm not sure what you would consider normal in your injured condition. Akemi, be quiet and just let me finish. I made a fake zipper over my mouth and closed it. Now I want you to climb a tree without using your hands. That confused Naruto, so Pirate decided to demonstrate. Pirate started walking directly up the tree. Oh, so that's what he means. I never knew my ability to climb trees like that was a ninja technique. Wow, that really proves how smart I've been. Pirate explained how to do it, but since I knew how, I didn't exactly pay attention. He and Sakura then recapped what chakra was, then he threw shuriken at our feet. I wasn't paying attention, so when I saw a flying shuriken coming at me I acted on reflex and threw it back. It cut him on the right side of his head, almost cutting his mask off his face. Then I came back into thinking, realizing I just cut Pirate. I smiled sheepishly at him. Sorry, I already have him pissed at me for his destroyed book, didn't need him even madder at me for almost revealing his face. If we're likely going to be fighting with Cowboy again and Pirate's the one protecting us, I'd rather stay on his good side. Mark the spot you get to before you fall. Keep doing it until you reach the tops of the tree. He instructed us while fixing his mask. We all picked up our shuriken. The other three ran at the trees after concentrating their chakra. Sakura did pretty decent, getting to a good height. Sasuke and Naruto on the other hand didn't end so well. They kept falling after many of their attempts. I just stood there not moving. I was looking around until I spotted the tree I wanted. Pirate was looking at me with a raised eyebrow, wondering why I hadn't ran up a tree yet. I started walking up my chosen tree even though I didn't get a running start. I walked higher and higher until I got to the top. I looked on the trunk and found it. Carved onto the trunk was, "Hey, bitches. Just to tell you, this is my tree. I made it up here first, so stay off. Anyway, congrats on getting up this high, still my tree though. Yay, I'm still cheery as ever too." I decided to walk down only to see everyone looking at me surprised. You knew how to do this technique already? Pirate asked me suspiciously. Yeah, I always did. I just didn't know it was a ninja thing. What? Akemi, you could already do this. No fair. I'm definitely going to beat Sasuke now. Believe it. Naruto seems slightly annoyed that I could do better than him since I'm new to being a ninja. Sasuke was downright in his emo corner for being beat by his stalker fangirl and the idiot newbie. He was just as determined as Naruto to not let himself be beat by the other. Training went on. Both guys were making a competition out of it now that both me and Sakura had already passed. Plus Pirate hinting strongly that they suck made them really kick it into high gear. By the end of the day Sakura and I went back to guard Tazuna while the boys worked on their tree climbing. They finally came back for dinner when Pirate sent me to go get them. You know, I know Pirate is making us climb trees like squirrels, but I don't think he expects you to have the same hygiene as actual squirrels. I commented while smirking, looking down on the sweating boys. Both glared at me for my comment. Come on, time to eat. They tried getting up but both were so weak from chakra exhaustion that I had to support them all the way back. Since I'm short, they both had to lean down to stay upright. Sasuke actually put his elbows on the top of my head since he was so tall. Whoa, never mind about dinner anymore guys. I think you need to go on a diet like Sakura or something. I'm sure you could swap recipes. And Sasuke, get your elbow off my head. He smirked at the advantage he had to me. It's not my fault you're so short. Shut up. Naruto, stop laughing, you're not that much taller than me. Hey, I'm taller than you though, believe it. We walked back like that, them making fun of me giving them back sarcastic comments. Naruto and I were laughing, Sasuke was even smirking. We finally got back to Tazuna's house. They ate as fast as possible, turning eating into a contest. Really? Both threw up from it. Hey, I said over the table before I left to the room. They looked up. I said you needed to go on a diet, not turn into anorexics. I smirked at their faces before I left. It went on like that for the next 2 days before I couldn't get away from leaving right as everyone ate and then coming back later to eat. Oh yeah, I just remembered I have some things to take care of, so Pirate looked up from his book. Whatever it is, Akemi, it can wait. Sit down, eat. He had a look in his like he knew something. No, I had to go give a squirrel a bath. I know, lame excuse, blame it on the many squirrels in my head. Everyone looked at me in disbelief. Pirate raised his one eyebrow. What? I asked, pretending that what I just said wasn't stupid. I can just get something to eat when I come back like I usually do. Akemi, eat. I really didn't want to embarrass myself in front of them. When an idea came into my head. Okay, if you eat with us also. I noticed how he didn't eat so that he doesn't have to take his mask off. He wouldn't, so I wouldn't. Even if he did, seeing his entire face would be so great that I wouldn't mind eating with everyone. I could just eat very little. I'm really curious about what he actually looks like. My other teammates also seemed interested in my idea to see his face. No, I think you'll eat now or I'll make sure Tsunami doesn't leave any food for you afterward. He smiled, closed-eyed, triumphantly. Damn, he had me. I was really hungry too. I grumbled curses under my breath even though I'm sure Pirate heard them and sat down in my seat. Tsunami passed everyone their food. I broke my chopsticks and was just pushing my food around on my plate. Akemi. I looked up. You had to eat the food. I glared at him. He definitely knew. How he knew just proved what a huge stalker he was. I can't, I said really quietly. I didn't quite catch that. I am definitely releasing a small amount of rodents into his book collection later. I can't, I said through gritted teeth. The people around the table were confused. You can't? I sighed. I might not exactly know how to use chopsticks. I said reluctantly. Everyone looked surprised at what I said. What? Akemi, why didn't you tell me? I would have taught you to, believe it. Akemi lives with you, right, Naruto? Sakura asked. Naruto nodded. Then how did you not know? I mean, what can you eat that doesn't use chopsticks? He blushed, turning embarrassed. Well, I had ramen and Akemi usually ate onigiri. What? You made her eat only that? Sakura yelled at him, then smacked him in the head. Sasuke, HNED, in agreement. I thought she just really liked onigiri. He defended himself while rubbing his growing bump on his head. Okay, we get it. I don't know how to use chopsticks. Let's just eat. I was really embarrassed. Everyone offered to teach me how. Dinner turned out to be fun with everyone failing to teach me how to use chopsticks. They were all jokingly laughing at my many failed attempts while I was getting more and more frustrated every time I didn't get it. That only made them laugh more. Inari kept insisting on teaching me how properly. Although I didn't particularly enjoy them laughing at my expense, I had to admit dinner was fun. It had a nice atmosphere to it. The girls, Tsunami, Sakura, and I were doing dishes and talking. The guys were doing the same, just without the dishes. We all get it. I will never be able to handle chopsticks. Now stop laughing. I just can't figure out how you never learned. Sakura said while giggling. Tsunami was laughing softly also. Yeah, Kemi, it's super easy. Naruto added in on our conversation. I always hunted for my food. Change topics. I commanded. I looked at a picture. I knew a little about Tazuna's family. Kaizo was a really good man. Sakura saw where I was looking. Who is that in that picture? Inari stood up immediately in the room just as she said it. Oh no, he looked at the battered Naruto, then he started tearing up. Why? At our confused looks he continued. Why are you working yourselves so hard? No matter how cool or tough you act, you'll just get killed. He sobbed. No, we'll get him and prove to you that you shouldn't get discouraged so easily, like Kaiza. I tried comforting him. Suddenly all his rage was directed at me. What do you know? I thought you were out hero when you came and saved the village, but you just left. You didn't stay. You didn't even say goodbye. I was shocked at his statement. I never thought I let him down. I never thought any place I stayed at had any feelings for me. Naruto jumped to my defense and started saying how we would get Gato no matter what, but it was too much for Inari. He ran out the door upset. Awkwardly everyone went to bed. Inari didn't say much after his outburst. Naruto worked himself to the bone to complete his training. He apparently met some cross-dresser named Haku in the woods while training. I rekindled my great relationship with Tazuna by giving his bottles of booze a little nudge off of his bridge into the lake below. He was so not happy about that. It was fun. Me, Pirate, Sakura, and Sasuke went with Tazuna while he worked on the bridge. Naruto had to stay with Tsunami so he could rest. Even though Inari and I weren't really back on friendly terms, I gave him a seal to use if he needed my help. He took it at least. We were walking to the bridge when we saw all the floating bodies in the lake. I scanned around the area then sighed in relief. No worries, none of them are dead. Just unconscious, they'll need some rest, but beyond that they're fine. How do you know? Sakura asked. I don't sense any dead spirits around. So that means they're all still alive. She nodded in understanding. Pirate and Tazuna just looked relieved that no one was dead. Pirate scanned the area for something in particular. The three of us got into fighting stance when the mist rolled away, some revealing a person's figure in the distance. It was a man, I figured from the outline of the shadow. The mist cleared more until we saw who it was. Guess who? Cowboy. Cowboy. It's great that you're alive and came to us, or else Pirate would have had to stalk you to find out where you disappeared. Then he'd make us come too. You save a whole lot of gas money. He stared at me oddly. Kakashi, you have a strange student on your hands this time, don't you? Pirate sighed. Tell me about it. Hey, I'm not strange. I'm awesome. I stated it like it was a fact, not an opinion, which by the way it is. I am awesome, no argument about it. Cowboy started advancing at us slowly. I got back into my fighting stance. Pirate, your squirrel training better come in handy or I'm haunting your ass when I die. I see you're back for round 2, Zabuza. Hey, and I see you still have those brats with you too, Kakashi. Yes, they were uber scary with such witty banter going between them too. For people trying to kill each other, they sure have chummy conversations. Pirate? Attention turned to me. Are we fighting for our lives here, or are you going to keep flirting with Cowboy over there? I'm sure if you really want to you can get yourself a date with him after we're done battling for our lives. Sakura and Tazuna control their laughter before it gets out. Cowboy looks between disturbed and amused from what I just said. Pirate was looking at me like I was on special meds or something. Interesting student, Kakashi. Too bad I'll have to kill her or I would have kept her around. Ah, that's so nice to know Cowboy at least likes me enough to almost not murder me. That's one way to put her. His eye turns to the guy in the mask. Your partner is still with you. He then made a comment about hiding behind a mask to the guy, which I think is total hypocrisy. Sakura tells him off in a more polite fashion than I ever would have. Sasuke then repeats what Pirate says, but Sakura only talks about how cool he is. Pirate got slightly dejected by his own student stealing his line and getting a better reaction than he did when he said it. I sensed something and heard the sound of a bell that only I could hear. I gave Inari a seal to call me if he needed help. I knew Inari was in trouble. I'll be back, Pirate. Keep your date busy until I get back. I started jumping away, trying to get to Inari as fast as I could. Akemi. My team called me to get back, but I was already off. I came back to the house to see it wrecked. I looked for Inari. I found him in the corner crying. Inari. I called. He looked up. What's wrong? What happened? He told me how the two thugs of Gato came and took Tsunami as a hostage for Gato to threaten Tazuna with to stop him from building the bridge. Inari was crying at how weak he was. I know what I did next probably wasn't the best solution. I slapped him. He looked at me shocked. Don't keep crying about it. Do something. Remember what Naruto told you. Remember Kaiza. He stood up for what he thought was right and protected the ones he cared about. Now are you going to keep crying to the world how bitter your life is, or are you going to do something about it? He started crying again, but I saw the look in his eyes. He was battling with himself, building up the courage. Finally he lifted his head and looked me straight in the eyes with a solid resolve. Yes, I want to help Mother. I want to be able to protect everyone I care about. I smiled and ruffled his hair. That's it. He smiled back. Now here's the plan. I ran out to find the two men pushing Tsunami. That made me angry because she was like a second mother to me. Hey, I yelled, making them turn around to see me. Let her go, you disgusting. Excuses for men. They glared at my insult. Obviously they must be new recruits of Gato's, otherwise they would have recognized me from when I beat the crap out of that dwarf the first time. Who are you insulting, girl? You better run along or else you really get hurt. One with clown makeup threatened, pulling out part of his sword to try to scare me. It didn't work. I stood there annoying both men more. I'm warning ya, girly. Wouldn't want to mess up that pretty little face of yours. I smirked. Well, I wouldn't mind messing up that ugly lil face of yours. I guess he's one of those sensitive types when it comes to his looks, cuz he charged at me with his sword. His partner followed him. Perfect. I pushed them farther on the dock towards the water, with their faces in my direction, on the end of the dock. The plan between Inari and me was that I distract them while he gets Tsunami to safety. I wasn't really fighting at all, just playing with them. Before my ninja training I could have taken these pathetic losers down easy. Now with my training, it's like keeping a 2-year-old out of hand's reach. Woo-ah! Thunk! Both thugs turned. Inari had slipped while trying to pull an unconscious Tsunami back into the house. Hey, get that brat. We need the woman. They left me and ran to Inari. I could tell he was scared, but he still stood in front of Tsunami, protecting her. I ran to stop them, but someone beat me to it. Two Naruto clones come from behind, knocking both thugs to the ground unconscious. Naruto, you always know when to make the best entrance. I smiled at my crazy, hyperactive, cheerful friend. He laughed with his signature smile on his face. Him and Inari have a heart-to-heart, man talk, and both end up laughing like maniacs. Okay, as much as I would want to stay, we both need to get to Pirate. You can hold down the fort for now, right Inari? I smile again. I haven't smiled this much in such a long time. These crazy people are affecting me too much. He blushes but reassures me he'll be fine because he's the man of the house and it's his job to protect his family. Great. Naruto, let's go. They'll be needed our help. Wait, Akemi. I turned to him with a, what? You forgot this at the house. I was coming to meet up with you guys, also to give you this. In his hand, he held out my headband. I haven't worn it since the bell test. Not much use for it. I take it hesitantly. Okay. I tie it around my neck like a choker. The metal around my neck would protect it from getting impaled by one of those needles from the gut in the mask. We start heading back to Pirate to see him and Cowboy duking it out, Sasuke bleeding in a dome, and Sakura protecting Tazuna. Naruto chucks a shuriken at Mask Guy's face, hitting him in the face. Then he makes this huge entrance that was definitely not needed. Wasn't the point of being a ninja to not be noticeable? Number 1 knuckle-headed ninja. The Mask Guy stated. Wow, he already knows what Naruto is like, maybe he's a stalker too. Hey Pirate, sorry to ruin your date but we're back. I yell across the field while waving one arm with my other hand cupped near my mouth to make my voice louder. Naruto's sweat drops at me for ruining his epic entrance. Okay Naruto, you go save Sasuke's ass while I annoy Pirate. He nods proudly then runs in the direction of the dome. I walk to Pirate and Cowboy. Sue, how's the date? I asked in a playful way. Pirate glares at me. Akemi, where did you run off to? I was giving this really epic pep talk, although some might have considered it babysitting. I explained, which only got a confused look from both of the grown adult men. I'll tell you later. I saw Cowboy advancing while Pirate was distracted. Pirate, you know if you ignore your date too much he'll get angry. He took my subtle hint and blocked Cowboy's sword before it slashed half of his back down. I pulled my sword out, readying my fighting stance. So can I tag along or do you two want some private time? Pirate looked at me but decided to just let me. He nodded. So you think you can take me on, child? Cowboy asked amused. There's a slight possibility of that being true. I haven't fought sword to sword in a while, this should be fun. Also the name's Himura Akemi, not child. He raised his eye at my name probably because he never heard of the Himura village, no one ever seems to. Fun, We'll see about that. The mist started to getting thicker again. Soon it was really hard to see even what was in front of me. I run off in whatever direction my instinct is telling me to go, ignoring Pirate's yells to come back and stay close to him. PSH, like I would, he would ruin all the fun in the fighting by taking over. I glance around warily, not sure when he would strike because it had been a while since I left Pirate to himself. I still haven't seen Cowboy anywhere yet. The next thing I know my face is saying hello to his blade. Whoa, a heads up would be nice next time. He keeps swinging his sword at me. It had blood trickling down it. I'm guessing you've already sparred with Pirate. He only grunted while concentrating on probably cutting me to little bits of pieces. It's a little challenging to keep up since he puts so much force into every swing. He not only using brute strength, he's calculating each move, knowing where to hit and where to dodge. He's a good swordsman, he's probably had a lot of experience with a sword. You're not that bad of a swordsman, Cowboy. He grunts when I land a blow to his side. You're not that bad either, child. I think he called me child, which is very annoying, just because I call him Cowboy. He swings at my feet, I dodge but the second hit after finds its target in my back. It stings a lot but I keep going. We're evenly matched with swords. We're practically freaking dancing, bobbing and weaving and turning in rhythm with each other's swords. Each not giving leeway to the other. We're even chatting with each other. So about your little sidekick, who's he? I slash at his feet, he jumps to dodge. Haku. He's a brat I picked up a couple years back. He's only my tool to fulfill my goal. I knew from his tone when he said Haku's name that he did care about him dearly even if he didn't say it out loud. And your goal would be? I'm sure it's not to get a date with Pirate. He puts more pressure on his hit. My sword keeps it back. When I achieve it you will hear about it, child. Hit, jump, dodge, swing. We both realize soon in the battle that neither of us is going to win if we're only using swords. He does that dragon water attack he did on Pirate before from the water already on the ground. I tried slashing at it but it only went through his dragon. A quick image of Sasuke blowing fire through his mouth from training popped into my head for a millisecond. Only problem to my solution is I don't know how to do that jutsu. Well, I could try to wing it so I gathered chakra into my lungs and blew. Instead of fire coming out like Sasuke, water came out and pushed the dragon back at Cowboy. Cowboy looks slightly shocked but recovers quickly, he destroyed the dragon. Well, it looks like you also a decent fighter. Before I could comment I felt a large evil presence far off. I shivered. I knew it was Naruto, I had to go help him calm down before he hurt himself. Sorry Cowboy, we'll have to postpone our play date to a different time. I need to go somewhere again. I quickly ran away to the evil presence. Cowboy was about to grab my arm to stop me from leaving. Luckily I was fast enough that he couldn't get me in time. I ran to get to Naruto quickly but found Pirate instead. He grabbed me out of nowhere. What the? Oh, it's only you, Pirate. We need to get to Naruto now. The fox demon is getting loose. He could end up hurting Naruto. Pirate looked stunned for a second. You know about the nine-tails fox? I kinda know about the fox but any priest or priestess could easily sense the evil spirit possessing Naruto. Anyway we need to move, now. I ran to the direction Naruto was in but Pirate held onto my elbow. Let go, we need to get to him. Pirate shook his head angering me even more. We need to deal with Zabuza before we can help Naruto. I sighed. I crossed my arms while tapping my foot. Well, hurry up, we don't have all day. Pirate shook his head at me, sighing. Also if you keep sighing so much your hair'll be even whiter than it is now. He sighs again. All he seems to do is sigh around me. I wonder why? He pulls a scroll out. Biting his thumb till blood comes out, he swipes his blood in a straight line across the paper. He sets it down on the ground making rapid hand signs then saying, ninja art. Summoning. Earth style, Fang pursuit jutsu. Cracks in the ground surface leading away into a different direction in the mist. I hear a cry of pain and the mist starts to become less visible. I saw Cowboy standing not far off being chewed on by a bunch of dogs. You did that with that little piece of paper? I asked, pointing at Cowboy's state. If you really wanted to break up with him, a no would have sufficed, you know. Both men looked like I was the most annoying person in the world. You'd be surprised how often I get that look. They continued their conversation until it started turning ugly. Pirate kept talking about how Cowboy was too dangerous to keep going. I was catching the gist that Pirate was about to do something lethal to Cowboy. Pirate started making hand signs, then lighting formed around him going into his hand until it formed into a sphere. Lighting blade. He ran to Cowboy. No, wait, Pirate. I saw a flash coming toward us. I realized what was going to happen soon. Wait, stop. He still didn't stop. Kakashi, stop. He attacked right when Haku came in front of Cowboy, blocking Pirate's attack. The lighting went right into Haku's chest. I screamed, even though I knew he was dying, but I didn't want to believe it. My team came out. Cowboy started acting frenzied. Naruto was screaming at Cowboy for being so heartless to Haku. I knew it was actually his way of dealing with Haku's death. While they were arguing, a clap was suddenly heard over it all. Everyone turned to see that stupid dwarf standing there with a group of thugs surrounding him. He did quite a number on you, Zabuza. You look like yesterday's trash. He grinned widely, although I just thought he looked a pixie with a high. I must say I am very disappointed in you, Zabuza. He signaled with his index finger for the thugs to come closer. I'm afraid your services aren't needed. You're too much collateral damage for me to afford. What is the meaning of this, Gato? Cowboy growled at the dumb dwarf. The meaning is I'm firing you, Zabuza. You're going to die today. He added as an afterthought, but if you could, kill some of them. I would have less people to pay later. He then walked near Haku and kicked him. That's for injuring my arm, you stupid damn brat. That only angered me. I stepped forward. I thought you learned from our last tangle together what happens when you get too big for your breeches. Although I think it a little easy for you, dwarf. He looked irritated, then scared when he recognized me. What are you doing here? He was noticeably paler, but then tried to act macho when he remembered he had a group of thugs behind him. There's nothing you can do this time. I have more than last time. It would be too difficult even for you. He looked smug at the thought. I stepped forward, scaring him. He backstepped, destroying any image of him being macho. As much as I would like to kick your ass, dwarf, this isn't my fight. You're going to have to deal with a pissed off Cowboy. I crossed my arms and jerked my head in Cowboy's direction. Naruto went ballistic, ranting about the importance of friends and comrades. He had tears running down his face. What he was saying seemed to really hit Cowboy because he had a tear running down his face also. He asked for a weapon from Naruto. Cowboy started cutting and slashing everyone there. Gato died by Cowboy's hand. I wasn't one bit remorse for his death. I knew where he was going to be hell. Cowboy decided to commit suicide right then. The remaining thugs didn't know what to do now that their money supply was dead, so they decided to attack the village to look for money. Before anyone from my team stepped up to stop them, an arrow shot in front of them. There stood the villagers with weapons on them, standing proudly protecting their home. They all roared, sending the pathetic group of thugs scrambling back from where they came. While they were distracted celebrating, I picked up Haku, putting him right next to Cowboy. Nice job, Cowboy. You really got them. I offered him a weak smile. He was breathing heavily. I'm going to die. He stated it like a fact. At least you'll be able to see Haku again. No, where I'm going isn't heaven. I'm going to hell with Gato. I took his hand into mine. He didn't resist, maybe because he was too weak, but he didn't seem to want to pull away either. You tried to repent. You'll definitely see Haku again. I promise. I took my pinkish into his and shook it. I promise. Now why don't you rest? Haku is waiting for you. He squeezed my hand to try to reassure himself. I lowly sung a song I used when sending off a soul. He slowly closed his eyes as I was finishing the song. Snow started lightly falling onto the ground. Haku, I knew this snow was special. It had the same pure feeling Haku's soul possessed. I smiled, knowing both were going to be happy where they were. I prayed one last silent prayer, then walked up to my team, celebrating and congratulating Inari for his bravery. We were leaving. The bridge was finally built. Naruto got it named after him, the Great Naruto Bridge. Inari and Naruto were having a contest to see who would cry first while saying goodbye. Although I didn't see the point since both were already crying. "Hey, Tazuna," I said in a sing-songy voice. He eyed me warily, probably wondering what horrible thing I was about to do or say. "Look what I got as a going-away gift for you." I held up a bottle of liquor with a red ribbon on it. His eyes brightened up at the bottle. He ruffled my hair. "You know what? You're all right, kid." I slapped his hand away. "Take care, Akemi." He looked like he sincerely meant it. I only pulled a Sasuke by Hning. His genuine look was uncomfortable. He smiled wider at my discomfort, ruffling my hair again. "Akemi." I turned to see Inari. I cocked my head to the side in question. Inari ran up to me suddenly. "Promise you'll come back again?" I hugged him back gently. "Now what fun would your village be without me to bug you every now and then?" He smiled at me. I smiled back. We started heading back to Konoha when we heard a small explosion off in the close distance. "Akemi I heard Tazuna yelling angrily. I grinned even though I knew he couldn't see me. "See? I add so much fun to their lives." "You're welcome," I screamed back. What would they do without me? Third person POV. A man with red hair sat in the corner of his office rubbing his temple. Another man with his own mop of red hair stood across from him, both looking grim. "Are you certain it is her that we need?" "I'm afraid so, sir." The man known as Katsutashi slammed his fist onto the desk. "Damn, that stupid girl was always an eyesore. Now I need that damnable thing and her disgusting hair back into my village again. I finally rid myself of that annoyance to need her back again. It will not work without her, sir. Her blood and appearance are the only in the village who matches with the requirements. We need her as the sacrifice before the solstice before it is too late." "I know. Do not remind me of that wretched child," he raged. The other man stayed still unaffected. Then Katsutashi smiled wickedly, not 1 ounce of fatherly love in his face but malice and evil. "At least that filthy child with her filthy blood will be gone from existence. Who knows how she's been shaming the Himura name up until now. I only kept that wretch alive when I banished her for my wife's sake." He spoke wife with almost as much distaste as he spoke of Akemi's name. "Sir, we need your command to capture the girl." "Yes, bring her back here. Bring her back alive. You can beat her until near death for all I care, but make sure she's usable when she comes back." The man nodded, bowing lowly and leaving the room. Katsutashi sat in his chair thinking at all the things he would be doing to the thing that was called his daughter. "Oh, Akemi, I hope you enjoy the rest of your free will because when I'm done with you, you'll wish I killed you all those years ago." Akemi's POV. We were walking back to the Leaf Village. I learned while I was fighting Cowboy Sasuke apparently died. That sucks. Because I missed seeing it. Sasuke kind of glared at me when I said the second part of my comment on him dying. While we were talking I realized something. Oh my freaking god. Og. Damn it. I can't believe I seriously forgot that. "What's wrong, Akemi?" Naruto asked me worriedly. Everyone else was looking around on offense guard because we recently finished a difficult mission. I was so busy keeping an eye on drunk Tazuna I completely missed the best opportunity to run away from you freaks. Damn, and I could have been to my next destination by now. No, the other sweat dropped at me. Personally I would be more offended by my comment than exasperated, but hey, these people are from Konoha. The place where pedophiles, child abusers, and perverts live, and I'm positive the list still goes on from there. Akemi, why don't you stop planning to run away and just settle down? Pirate suggested. Naruto agreed with Pirate. I only made in reply, causing them to sweat drop yet again. We were coming up to the gates when I saw those 2 guards from before napping. I got a quick idea and ran ahead of everyone. Pirate told me to stay, not really forcing me to. I walked up to both to make sure they were out, which they were. Perfect. I started taking out paper bombs, setting them down in specific spots. I rechecked my handiwork, deciding it was ready. I then tiptoed close to both sleeping guards, who I have yet to know the names of, and screamed, "Booga booga booga." Then I backstepped to watch the show. They both jumped up surprised in fighting stances, probably expecting an attack. One of them stepped on my paper bomb trap, setting the plan into motion. Once they stepped on my trap, the others started blowing up like a chain reaction. Every time either guard's foot touched the ground, a bomb went off, exploding. They were hopping around trying to get out of their predicament. At that point I burst out laughing, falling to the ground. My team soon came into view, stopping short at what they saw. 2 grown ninja men jumping with explosives going off at their feet, with me close by on the ground laughing my head off. Naruto took one look and almost laughed but tried to hold it in unsuccessfully. Sakura scolded me about fooling around, but who was she kidding? She was enjoying the show as much as Naruto. I finally got off the ground, keeping my full blown out laughter to some light giggling. Sasuke was looking at my handiwork. Nice trap, he admitted. I nodded my head in acknowledgement. Pirate just sighed. Akemi, what are you doing? The bombs finally seemed to end. Both guards stopped jumping, looking worn and slightly burnt. They looked at me like I was crazy until they recognized my face. That'll teach you to laugh at me, I said, really smugly, crossing my arms with a triumphant smile on my face. You know the saying, payback's a bitch. They looked slightly ticked at me, yet still also amused at the same time. I gotta admit, you got us good. The one with the black spiked hair and rectangular beard. Yeah, she did. The other with brown hair covering his right eye repeated more to themselves than me. You guys are complete weirdos. I just bombed you and you're enjoying it. Also, don't laugh at me, I bombed because of that. Geez, you really didn't learn your lesson. I shook my head in fake disappointment and put my hands up in a, what can you do, way. Spiky laughed at that. The name's Katestu. He pointed to himself, then to his partner, and he's Azumo. I nodded. Akemi. Oh, we already know about you. Azumo smirked. My teammates, obviously getting bored, were leaving. I started running after them, but not before turning around and shouting back at the two. See ya, you better remember my lesson, cause if I had to teach you again I might accidentally kill you. Bye. I waved my hand, running back to my team. A week later. We've had a couple more missions after, not as dangerous, more like chores actually. Weeding, which Naruto botched up by pulling every plant in sight. He ended up getting beat up, I had to comfort him. Dog walking. I ended up laying on top of the dog while he, the dog, gladly walked for me. Naruto, unlike Sakura or Sasuke, chose the second largest dog next to the one that let me ride on it the entire way and ended up getting dragged halfway across Konoha. I had to comfort him, Naruto, not the dog. Naruto was trying to prove so hard he was better than Sasuke that his plan backfired and he ended up getting saved by Sasuke from plunging head first down a waterfall. I really had to comfort him. I'm guessing you catching on quick that I've had to comfort Naruto a lot. I've tried to run a couple times, unfortunately I got caught. Thank the almighty Lord Guy was not on watch duty anymore. I got Asuma now, although for some reason he still hasn't asked for his wallet back. Thank goodness, because that means I still have a couple more days before I have to get a job so I can buy food. I'm still trying to get him to stop smoking, it could kill him later on. In that week I've made friends with a shy girl, her name's Hyuga Hinata. She's super sweet and nice. I've also met her teammates, Aburame Shino, Inazuka Kiba, and Akamaru. Kiba not actually that bad when he's not trying to flirting with me. Shino's bugs really like me for some apparent reason. Overall they're a really nice team. I just finished a mission and was walking nowhere in particular. After the mission Sakura was going to offer to hang out but decided to try Sasuke instead. And Naruto was going for ramen, I declined. That damn ramen with those damn chopsticks. I decided to go somewhere to get an address I needed. I left around the time Naruto and Sakura were talking to some kids in a cardboard box. I was walking to the library for some information I wanted. Once I got it I left and was heading for a random tree to sleep in until some nut job attacks me. I looked to see who it is only to find Iruka in disguise. Iruka? Why the hell are you dressed up like a hobo ninja? He really looked like one. He had some ninja stuff, he also looked dirty. He paused for a second, seeming surprised I recognized him but still pretended to be ignorant. I have no idea who you're talking about. He then proceeded to attack me. It was really weak, I could have beat him even before I started training as a ninja. I beat him down a little more gentle than I usually would. I was sitting on him while he was hog-tied. You know who would love to see this right now? Naruto. Now this is what you call karma. He didn't answer back, so I went on explaining. Karma. The whole what goes around comes around. You tying up Naruto and now you're tied up instead. I could tell from the irk mark forming on his head that I was pushing it, but being the person I pushed it. I could take a picture of you right now with me in it making the piece sigh. Then I could mail it to Naruto. And that was the breaking point. Akemi. Yes? Untie me and shut up. I got off of him and started working on the ropes, mumbling to myself. Geez, you're almost as bad as Pirate. Ordering me around like a sack of potatoes. I don't even like potatoes. I mean, look at them, they're a super ugly vegetable. I kept mumbling incoherent words until Iruka was untied. Now mind telling me why you attacked me? Especially why you attacked me while dressed as a hobo? He looked slightly offended, poofing back to his normal appearance. I was checking all the nominees for the Chunin exam's abilities. Wow, he sounded so professional. But I was getting tired and was only half paying attention. Okay, I put my hands in the air waving them. Yay! I'm great. I yawned. Okay, night night. I didn't wait for his reply. I headed to one of the trees I've slept in before. I climbed up it and went to sleep. Hey, Akemi. I felt someone poking me. I got up quickly, pushing whoever poked me onto the ground. I heard a thud from the ground. Man, how troublesome. I opened my eyes to see that guy from class rubbing his head. Oh hey, I pointed to him. Shit, I can't remember his name. You. Being the smart ass he was, he knew I didn't know his name, Shikamaru. I scowled. I knew that. From the look he was giving me, I definitely know he knows I didn't. Stupid smart people. What do you want? I paused for a second thinking. Haven't we done this before? He actually chuckled at that. Yeah, we have. Anyway, I usually hang out around this tree. I saw you sleeping and went to check if you were okay. Although I didn't know it was going to be this troublesome. Shikamaru was laying in the grass looking at the clouds. I got out of the tree and lay down next to him. Sue. We talked next to each other for an hour or two. I had to leave to go meet up with my team. That was actually fun. We should do that again sometimes. See ya, Shika. He shook his head, calling me a troublesome woman. I walked up to them. You're late. Naruto and Sakura yelled as soon as I came in sight. I know, but what's it matter? Pirate is always late, so it's not like he'll care or know. They sweat dropped while I checked my hearing. I plopped down next to Sasuke. Hey, HN. Well, you're talkative, aren't you? Before he could answer back, Pirate came up. You're late. Both yelled again. It's kinds of tradition between the three. They were complaining to him about his tardiness, Sakura's hair, and someone's underwear. I zoned out after a while because I was bored. He ignored their complaints, telling us his news. I've nominated you guys for the Chunin exams. Here are the forms. Only fill them out only if you are going to participate. Come to room 301, 4 o'clock at the academy. Where have I heard that name? I got it. Wait. Everyone stopped what they were doing, liking towards me to finish. I kept looking at them. Well? Sasuke asked, annoyed. Well, what? What was it you were going to say? Oh yeah, I forgot for a second. The looks of disbelief I was getting from my team was funny. Iruka mentioned the Chunin exams or something yesterday night when he attacked me dressed as a hobo. What are the Chunin exams? Because they can't be tests on eating cause that has nothing to do with being a ninja. I paused for a second in consideration. At least I think it doesn't. Does it? I pointedly looked at Pirate for an answer. He slightly laughed at what I said. No, Akemi, and it's called the Chunin exams. They are as called an exam to test if you're capable enough to become a Chunin. The next level after a genin. And they're very difficult. Only take these exams if you really want to. The forms had finished being passed out. Suddenly Naruto grabbed Pirate into a hug. It was hilarious to look at Pirate's face. He quickly detached Naruto and poofed away. We all walked back somewhere in the same direction. Sakura was lagging behind slowly. She seemed depressed. Anywho, bye guys, I've got plans to carry out. Also Sakura, cheer up about whatever you're worrying about. It'll all work out in the end. I ran away to the address I looked up. I found it. I went into ninja mode, all silent and stealthy. The house was completely empty after checking, and I found what I wanted in the house. I hopped up to the window on the second floor, opening it slowly. I scanned the room until I found what I was looking for. Silently I crept into the room. I put my hand on the sleeping figure in front of me, covering any noise of surprise it made. I bet you're all wondering who it is. It's Tora. Yep, Tora the cat from one of my first missions. The one with the fat, cat-abusing owner. Tora stopped hissing at me once he realized it was me. He started purring along my leg. While Tora was doing that, I made a clone of Tora, except the clone was dead. The fat lady would bury it thinking it was real, and no one would be the wiser. Hey Tora, I whispered to it. You're free to go now, but make sure not to be seen by your creepy ex-owner. Got it? To my relief, it looked like he understood. He must have realized what would happen if he did. He hopped onto my shoulders when I leapt out of the room. After getting rid of all the stupid stuff his previous owner put on Tora, we walked around town. I asked people if they would want him. After a while I finally got these twin girls to take him in. Their parents found Tora adorable. I left after getting a final goodbye lick from Tora. I went towards Naruto's house onto my tree nearby, happy and content. And I bet you all forgot I was going to rescue him. Akemi's Pav. I was just sitting in front of Naruto's front door bored out of my mind. Apparently Asuma got sick, so some scar-faced creep was babysitting in his place for the next couple days. It might be because I dumped a bucket of cold water on top of Asuma's head to unlight his cigarette. Now I do admit I might have went a little far just to stop him from smoking that one time. Anyway, his replacement's name was Ibiki, I think. He's this huge, tall guy in only gray and black with a bluish bandana with the leaf sign around his head. He also has slashes running along his face. When we stand next to each other it looks so weird, I barely make it past half of him. It was around 9 in the morning. I thought since he was a sub he'd be pathetic and I could get away, but he's pretty decent. I also backsass him almost as much as I do with Pirate. He has a short temper like me, so we've been physically and verbally battling each other all morning. We've already had 3 battles and the only reason we're not in another one is because I'm not stupid. Obviously brute force isn't going to work, so I'm sitting in front of Naruto's apartment thinking of a plan. Naruto went out sometime this morning to hang out with the team. He offered for me to go, but I was in my second battle with Ibiki at that time, so he didn't really try to interrupt me. Ibiki right now is on the ground next to me sweating. "You're not a bad fighter, brat. It's Akemi," I growled. He refuses to call me by my name. Man, is this karma or what? I'm always calling Pirate, not his real name, and now it's happening to me. It is so aggravating. I'm still going to keep calling him Pirate though now that I know how annoying it can get. I sat there for 20 minutes forming a plan until I got it. It was one of my greatest plans yet. I got up searching for the key to the apartment. Ibiki was watching me in case I ran again. I was having a hard time finding my key since I hardly ever use it, since I only stay in the apartment when it's time to eat and Naruto is there then. After 10 more minutes of searching I found it. I unlocked the door to go in, then stopped to block Ibiki from coming in. I had to go to the bathroom. Unless you don't value your life or love me so much you'll die without me, I suggest you don't try following me there. Besides, you look like a freaking pedophile when you stand next to me. If the neighbors see, they might think you're raping me and call the police on you. He scowled at me for insulting him. I went into the room, which had my bag of necessities in it, then headed for the bathroom, making sure Ibiki didn't see me in my room before. Coast clear, I went into the bathroom, closed the door, and locked it. I formed the hand signs, shadow clone jutsu. I whispered in case he was listening. A solid clone of myself stood in front of me. Her name's Mimi. I like to name my clones. They have their own thoughts, so why not give them names? Next I made another combination of hand sign, transform. A cloud of smoke came around me. After it disappeared I had to look up to see Mimi's face. I transformed into myself when I was 7. I had shoulder length of my black hair with a white top and black dress that goes to my knees and black combat boots. My plan was to sneak out ninja style while my clone distracted Ibiki until I was gone. I can't believe all this time I was training as a ninja I never thought to actually use my ninja skills to escape. I'm smart, right? I looked to Mimi to tell her I'm ready. Mimi silently nodded that she was going to go. She walked out of the bathroom, slamming the door really hard to signal that it was okay to go. I heard talking on the other side of the door but ignored it. There was a window in the bathroom. Since I'm now even shorter than before, I had to stand on the toilet to climb out of the window. I sneaked around until I couldn't see Naruto's apartment anymore. Then I started walking normally again. I was walking into the streets where all the vendors and shops were selling their stuff. People kept looking at me and blushing, then looking away quickly when I catch them looking. It was around 11 now and I was getting hungry. On the bright time when I was fighting with Ibiki I somehow stole his wallet, just like Asuma. I walked into some nearby barbecue shop where you cook your food. I'm pretty sure I can just stab the meat with 1 chopsticks to eat it. I would just grab a bite then leave Konoha to my next destination. I walked in. The woman who gave me my seat was fawning over me for some reason. Her pinching my cheeks was really starting to hurt. She offered to cook my food for me, so I let her. I also thanked her. She squealed while pinching my cheeks again. It hurt. While I was waiting for my food I was playing with my hair. I forgot how short my hair used to be. Father cut it in anger one day when I was 5 studying my scrolls. I used to keep it short until 2 years back I started growing my hair long in my own little show of defiance. My village hated my hair, so I grew it long to show them up even if they didn't know. Once I stopped keeping it at shoulder level, my hair grew long fast. The lady came back with my food. I didn't really eat it. I was playing with my food while thinking. I was lost in my thoughts playing with strands of my hair when something caught my attention from the corner of my eye. Something more like someone's. I spotted Shika, his team, and my team coming in talking. My stare must have alerted them because Sasuke suddenly looked in my direction. His eyes widened. My eyes widened. I whipped around in my seat, trying to sink in, hoping they wouldn't come over. I frantically called the lady back to my table asking if she would wrap up my meal. She happily agreed. I turned back in my seat to see if he was still looking. He was, well, more like staring. He was just standing there looking with a little bit of pink on his cheeks. Naruto was standing next to him waving his hand in Sasuke's face asking what was wrong. Oh please, oh please, oh please, God, don't let them turn around. Don't. Well, luck chose that time to screw me over cause Naruto looked in the same direction as Sasuke shouting, Akemi, is that you? What are you doing? That freaking loudmouth. I swear if I didn't love him I would strangle him. He started coming over to my table along with his other curious companions. Akemi, I thought you weren't coming. What are you doing here? He finally got a good look at me. His eyes widened and he started blushing. Why do you look like that? The others had the same reaction as Naruto except Sasuke, who was already pink. I jumped up from my seat putting my hand over Naruto's mouth. Can it, Naruto? I'm trying to escape unnoticed. You screaming my name across a restaurant for all to hear is not helping me. Everyone in this restaurant is staring now. I whispered, yelled angrily. My voice sounded lighter and sweeter than usual now that I was in my 7-year-old body. It was how my voice used to sound like before it became a little more mature. The lady came back with my food wrapped. I paid her the money, shoving Naruto and pulling the gaping group with us out of the restaurant. I stood in front of them waiting for someone to say something, but no one did. Well? I asked, getting annoyed. Sakura and Ino seemed to snap out of it faster than the others. 1 minute they were with the gaping guppies, next thing both are hugging and swinging me around. Oh my gosh, Akemi. You're so cute. Sakura gushed, still twirling me around. Ino adamantly agreed to that. Hey, let go Sakura, Ino. I am 12 years old and I won't be treated like a child. She wouldn't let go, so what I said next kinda ruined my previous statement. Leak goo. I whined, sounding extremely childish. Both started gushing even more than before. A cough brought them back. I turned my head to see everyone else regained themselves. Sue, why do you look like this? Shika asked, still blushing lightly. Also, who are you supposed to be? The others were paying 100% attention to me. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to escape discreetly. Also, I'm me. Who did you think I was supposed to be? I'm only me. Just a 7-year-old me instead of the regular 12-year-old me. I put my hands on my hips, standing there staring at them. You're really cute as a kid, Akemi. Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head embarrassedly. I blushed immediately, causing some AWWS to be said out loud. Anyway, bye guys, I have a gate to get through with some lazy bum guards. I put my food in my bag, starting to run to the gates where Izumo and Kotetsu guarded. They slept most of the time, so I could easily pass them. I heard them yelling to wait for a second. I ran through the streets, turning corners. I ran into someone's chest, causing me to fall back. I was on the ground rubbing. I felt something brush against my hand. I looked down to see some bugs, I think, trying to comfort me. I knew before I looked up who it was I bumped into. Sorry, I heard a voice. I looked up to see Shino there. He put his hand to help me up. One of his bugs crawled off me onto his hand to his ear. His eyes widened for a second but went back to normal a second later. Hello, Akemi. I smiled. Hi to you too, Shino. A boy started running up to Shino from the back along with a girl. Why are you stopping, Shino? We're going to be late for training if we don't run faster. Come on, who's the kid? Kiba. The girl came up soon after, panting a little. She took one look at me then smiled shyly. Hello, Miss Akemi. How's your day going? You look very lovely today. I smiled back at her, causing her to blush slightly. Hi Hinata, I'm planning my escape and I gotta hurry. I think Mimi poofed away 5 minutes ago, so Ibiki is going to be on my trail soon like a hellhound. Bye. I was running to the gates until Kiba grabbed my arm. Wait, Akemi. That's you. Yes, it's me. What is so hard to believe this is me? I asked, really irritated. I pulled his fingers off of me. I used to transformation just you to turn myself into my 7-year-old self. Ibiki wouldn't never be looking for me like this. Great plan, huh? I smiled, proud of myself. Kiba blushed, then grinned his smile. You're cute no matter what age. Akamaru barked in agreement. I blushed slightly. Stupid hereditary thing, my mother's side of the family blush really easily. I worked hard to get it down, the little amount I still do today. I scowled at Kiba. I patted Akamaru on the head, to which he wanted me to do more of. I don't have time for you flirting, Kiba. I've gotta get somewhere soon. And where would that be, brat? A really ticked off voice said behind me. I stiffened, partially scared about turning around. I did anyway to see Ibiki smiling in a maniacal way at me. It looks like Mimi did a real number on Ibiki and left me to clean up the mess. Oh hey, Ibiki, how's the weather up there? Okay, maybe not the best line to say to an already pissed off person. He was rumbling by then, he looked like he would explode at any moment. I did the most reasonable thing someone in my shoes would have done. I ran for my life. Aoig, bye Hinata, bye Shino, bye Akamaru, bye Kiba. If I don't make it back, it means Ibiki probably maimed me. I screamed back to them before hightailing it out of there. I ran as fast as possible, it's almost as fast as Pirate, to the gate, not caring anymore who guarded it. I thought I was almost home free, but being the moron I tripped on a rock, falling on my face, giving Ibiki the time he needed to catch me. I got up, giving up on running, getting into a fighting stance. You think you're ready to take me on, brat? He asked, slightly impressed. I nodded my head confidently. He cracks his neck. All right. Begin. We fought and fought and fought until both of us were so tired we fell to the ground panting. I could have beat him if I hadn't worn out my chakra keeping the transformation and Mimi up. I was still in my 7-year-old body, too exhausted to change back. Ibiki got up. Not bad for a brat. Vice versa. I managed to pant out. Come on, let's get you home. I was still laying on the ground pretending nothing was wrong. He smirked. You can't lift yourself up, can you? I glared at him. Shut up. I was still breathing heavily. He shook his head, bent down and put me on his back, piggyback style. Just so you know, I didn't ask for this. I was too embarrassed to say, thank you. He laughed. Oh course. After a pause, what did Mimi do to piss you off so much anyway? We walked the rest of the back to Naruto's apartment, talking or arguing, whichever you want to choose, to each other. People Ibiki knew kept commenting on how cute we looked, like a big brother with his little sister. Although how anyone could think that hulking giant and I could possibly be relatives is beyond me. It was around 7:30. We bickered almost the entire way back. Me making smart-ass comments, especially about how he looked like a pedophile because he was carrying me on his back, him threatening to drop me every time I made a comment. I soon got sleepy and fell asleep on his back. Thank you, I whispered before falling asleep. Ibiki's not such a bad guy. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.